Hey y'all. Hey y'all. Woo. I'm back. I'm back. This is with another one, independent thinking series. Let me tighten this up. All right. All right. Greetings. The inviters are all hell, Great Skull. Okay, we got Shar. What's going on, Shar? What's going on, HBIC RS? What's going on? Let's see. What another one? Oh man, last night over at the advisors band. It is what it was. And about 40-minute mark, I'll show you some screenshots I could have showed on the Derelict News network. Derelict News Network. And it was a couple of screenshots. I'm gonna break down why I did the screenshots when Gino asked me if he was gonna troll Angry Man. We're gonna get into that. That's a whole nother spiel, right? And I think people need to know, like, publicly, that's all on me. A lot of people try to blame that on Gino. No, Gino did his thing. So again's again. So yeah. And that is what it is. So that's a whole nother story. Um, let's see. Yeah, last night was one of those streams that it was epic. I know he did one with the segments and things like that. I haven't watched the replay, but he had another stream prior I was on, and that situation has been addressed. So that's a whole nother. I'm not gonna get into that. But tonight is just like I thought with these dudes in these spaces, man. Like I'm just gonna add something different to it. Just add screenshots and things like that. I'm gonna probably implement this in my content as well. The newer Thursdays, like Testimony Thursdays, I'm gonna pick a stream and screenshots to see what's what, and I'm going to see what they're talking about. They talk about the same old stuff all the time. So it's like religion. It's like I said, and like that stream, like just being honest, that's the whole thing. As quiet is kept, it's very common in these spheres and things like that. So I see this a lot and a lot of times, and but I still got them ready. So I ain't gonna wait till like it gets to like the 40-minute mark. I'll explain later. I was in that stream, and I'm just not gonna be in the mood. No derailment tonight. I'm just gonna talk to the issues with the screenshots I didn't get to, because I know I have 20 minutes. Because for now on, if I do that, I'm gonna have to have at least about 15 to 10 screenshots. I'm gonna say it like that. Wherever's left over, I can bring it over this content or the Thursday Thrills content, and that's it. I can use it as reference. Because certain screenshots, I'm gonna go for the super chats what people will be talking about. And I don't know if that stream is up, but this one right here is still up by Ramil. But but this is an epic stream because I know everybody was on the panel. I had to get the screenshots what people was talking about, and that's it. But the most popular one I would say this week is the Gino dropping 500. I didn't think he was gonna drop 500. See, he has a mind of his own. I didn't tell him to do that. I told him go for it. If you want to troll the man, troll the man. He was asking for advice, and but he did what he did. I didn't have nothing to do with that. But that chat was what it was. And Ramil was high as hell. He said he didn't realize that was going on. So basically, I'm talking about yesterday, and then yesterday was fun, and even off air talking to Ronan, talking about a lot of military stuff, things like that. So that's a different conversation. Sometimes you can have streams like that. I think people come through as they hope. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, like, in so many, you do what you do. So I'm not going to just go crazy with it tonight because I know what's going to happen and things like that. So I'm not going to try. It's no derailment tonight because, this is an interesting night because normally I focus on during the week, but tomorrow I'll talk about something different. I'm going to do the research on communitarianism and things like that. So, well, tonight is going to be one of those streams you just got to have and move forward. So basically, last night it was an excellent show, and we did good and everything. We had our points and things, and it's getting good. It's getting good, and basically, I'm just saying, look, we keep this up, more people get upset and get pissed off what we're doing. But that's the whole beauty about being the villains. We do what we do, but if it's all of us, yeah, it's dog pile season. But you know what's going new? The screenshots that I got from last night, I've been having those since last week, but last night I didn't show you all of them. I had a lot in the chamber, but for now I ain't gonna do that no more because I'm gonna get the right ones that need to be for the show for the advisor, and then the other screenshots I'm gonna just save for later. I'm gonna use them for a special purpose on a stream like this. I'm gonna pick panels that are proximity what's going on. I think I want to add that some into my content as well, but I'm gonna get you introduced the testimony Thursdays, Holy Testimony Thursdays, because I think this is pretty good that we get to know one another and things like that. So you're gonna see a lot of testimonies in the chat, and then I had to find streams that are in that realm, so to speak. It could be these spaces and things like that. So you're gonna see some information. So people are gonna be who they are. They're gonna be who they are. They're gonna be who they are. So yeah, I don't see this if it's working. There you go. There we go. Shit. Charge this bad boy up. Get to know and what I'm doing. So yeah. Why they send me some fucking insurance? I don't need that bullshit. I'm just saying, like, it's gonna come in here for a minute. Y'all give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Yeah. Damn it. Fucking headphones. Ah, they're pieces of shit. Hate these goddamn headphones. Woo. Shit. I'm fucking up tonight, y'all. Sorry about that, but I didn't know these come off. Damn. I don't know how to test these motherfuckers on. Okay. Fuck it. Just fuck it. Fuck it. I'm about to throw these motherfuckers away. God damn it. They were some good headphones too. I attach these raggedy ass shits. Fuck them shits. I'm so pissed off. But anyways, where was I? Like I said, man, there's screenshots of me, I know it was from last night and, like I just slung them bitches across the bed, man. Like I hate fucking headphones. I won't stick to my Sonys. I mean, they're good, but them things came off. I don't know how to unhook that. I don't want to get frustrated on the string because I got my points across. Yeah, those are piece of shit. What's going on, degenerate? Yeah, I'm gonna throw them bitches away. Them shit's trash. I want some real modern headphones. Damn it. Wasted a good fucking pair. That's why I hate fucking technology, man. I really do. I fucking hate all of this shit. I wish there was better headphones. They're trash as a motherfucker, man. I ain't buying them shits no more. I'll deal with that shit later. But that pissed me off. I had a good fucking over here, and then this shit happens on a goddamn string, and then I'm 11 minutes in. Oh, this is some bullshit, bruh. I'm so tired. It's just a whole bullshit I have to deal with, bruh. And then I get so mad, like, and I have to go back to my noise cancellations. I mean, they're good, but it picks up more sounds. I don't like that shit. You know what I'm saying? But fuck it. I'm on dynamic mode right now. So I'm just gonna be cool and just chill with y'all. Cause I hear a lot of bullshit in the background. So don't mind me. It pisses me off. Every time I've had um trashy headphones, they don't fucking work well for me. I just get so irritated, man. I had to sling them bitches across the bed, man, because I'm so tired of this shit. It's not even fucking funny, bro. Like, I try to give you decent comment. What's going on, college? And greetings, greetings. And it's the same shit that I deal with all the time. I'm going to get some real ones probably. It's going to be a while. I'm going to say fuck those for now and just stick to ones I got. Because I don't want to have no busted up ass headphones, man. I fucking hate headsets, period. Over time, they're cool, but they're not cool. You know what I'm saying? I want some strong ass headphones. That's what I want in the future. So I don't have to have this janky ass setup. Yeah, I deal with a lot of bullshit sometimes. God damn it. Good fucking pair. Sometimes you just gotta stay calm and just do your shit and just, you know, nothing's fucking perfect for me. I swear, bro. You be surprised what I go through when I try to do a live stream, man. You try to sound decent as you can, but you don't want to fuck up your shit. Sound's important. Fuck visuals. I'm so irritated right now. It's not even funny, bro. Damn it. I know some people say they don't care, but I fucking care, motherfucker. Because when you're going against bitch ass people on the internet, you need to sound better and shut them the fuck up. It's so fucking irritating, man. Like Like you try to do your fucking best on a goddamn stream, and then motherfuckers just want to challenge you. I'm sick of that retarded ass shit. I don't air these bitch ass niggas out for real. Like I'm so tired, bruh. Like it's not even funny, and you get so fucking irritated, and that's why I'm gonna address that shit in the 40-minute mark. But you know what I'm saying? You try to be cool and calm and shit, but this fuck shit on the internet, man. I want to get some screenshots today, but I say fuck that. I'll wait till Thursday. I'm in a good mood to get those screenshots. I'm not doing it these days because I got to focus on my content and shit like that. And it's just what it is, bro. Damn, these raggedy ass shits. I knew something was weak about them. I knew some shit was weak about them when I got them. Hate that shit. That's so fucking annoying. And then you try and do a goddamn live stream and then it's gonna come off like this. Man, fuck out of here. Damn. So fucking annoying, bro. That pisses me off. That's why I hate fucking headphones 95 cents of 'em. A lot of them are trash. Them big headphones, they're trash half of the times. I used to stick with the smalls before I had a microphone and shit. It's not fun, bro. You have to deal with the bullshit um shit sometimes. But yeah, man. Same old shit. I'll explain to you in the 40-minute mark. Yeah, I fucking hate headphones, bro. That's why I hate this whole goddamn shit on YouTube, and especially delete that. Yeah. That's why I hate fucking headphones in general. They're fucking trash. 95% of it is trash when I look at this shit. I'm talking a piece of my own tech right now, but I'm gonna get into the nitty gritty in a minute. I'm just gonna rant for a little bit. These bitch ass headphones that people like online and they get on streams and shit, they're fucking annoying, bro. They're fucking annoying. Like I understand. I used to be the headset person and do things like that. I mean, come on, bro. Like I get it. I get it. It's one thing to enjoy, and them things be fucking up your ears and shit. Like, come on, bro. I used to be a headset person in 2 years. I'll tell y'all something about me. I want something like I don't want to be like a perfectionist when I come to this shit, but when it comes to this shit, yeah, you have to, because niggas be talking sideways. You want your audio to be crisp. You want it to be crisp as you can, but motherfuckers be like getting on my nerves and shit. I found the hook them bitches, man, but you try to sound decent, but it's just like it's so fucking annoying, bro. It's so fucking annoying. But but I'll get into the situation that we had on the this I think was last week, and then I saw it on Ramil's, but it's gonna go back to what I did on that the advisor show. That was a hell of a show. I need to see the replay of that, how I did. And that's one of the main parts, but I'm gonna get y'all to build up. See, I didn't show the rest of the screenshots. I had Bernard Riley and those dudes what they be saying, and I'll get a 40-minute. When it gets into the 40-minute, I'm gonna pop the share and things like that. So we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, man. Today I ain't seen no drama. Just a bunch of bullshit. It's just what it was. And some people just gonna do what they do. And I'm not tripping off of shit. And I'm just gonna be, in the moment right now. Not worrying about nobody's shit. And I know people are gonna do their thing, but yeah, since I'm live, okay, good, good. I'm watching someone else's, but I'm getting into charging in a minute. Trying to be more fluid. But yeah, that thing we was talking about, and I think I was on Advisor. He had another stream too, Random Thoughts. That's a good one, talking about patriarchy and shit, which is cool. But that shit with AM, man, I ain't worried about dude. Dude ain't shit. He ain't worth my time. I'll use one screenshot of him next time on the Derelict News Network. I'm gonna have to find something that he gets into, and I think I said this before. It's better to get him super chatting, saying bullshit, and I want somebody to shut him up. See, my man had to put him on blast with the 500. Big bank beats little bank. But that's not really the topic, but that's an example of these whole ass spaces I see a lot. And then you got this bitch ass nigga named Pills, not with the I, with the E, his slow retarded ass. He's a fucking retard, by the way. Fuck that nigga. And his bone carrying ass was saying something in the stream. I'm gonna address his bitch ass tonight. He fucks with the masculine bitchinaries. I call them bitchinaries. Fuck all them niggas. The reason I'm addressing his bitch ass is because he's got a lot of bone carriers. He's a bone carrying idiot. And I said it. I don't care who likes it. Hold your own shit, bitch ass niggas. You ain't gonna co-op nothing over here. And AM ain't doing shit. His bitch ass. He never responds to me in the chat. And the reason he won't, because I roasted his ass a long time ago, 2 years ago. That dude's a fucking clown. Nobody's scared of that whole ass nigga, man. He's nobody. He's a piece of shit. And his whole crew turned against everybody that used to be around him. Wants his ass gone, bruh. Like, stop it. These guys that are brainwashing, are worshiping him, are suckers in real life. Like, that lets me know you're a half century old worshiping another man around your age, a peer, and you praise him as God. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of you old bitch ass niggas with your fake ass Timbs, fake ass clothing, knockoffs. These fucking clowns, man. It's fucking clowns, man. Oh, what's going on? Peace. But you got niggas like that, and this is why I screenshot y'all bitch ass fanatics of AM. See, y'all could talk about the God, the purple pill or KS God, him. Y'all can talk about him all day. To me, he's irrelevant. Okay, he's irrelevant. And the reason I don't go in on him, like, I'm tired of hearing about his ass. I don't watch his shit. Fuck that nigga. I stand on that shit. Same with AM. I mean, I watch and Sky watch this bullshit he be saying, and it's kind of funny. That's a jealous motherfucker. And a lot of people don't like me saying it, but fuck him too. You know what I mean? I just like trolling the nigga. He ain't gonna do nothing about it. He ain't gonna do shit about it. And his followers need to grow the fuck up and do their own content. Cause that man don't give a fuck about you at the end of the day. It's all an act, bruh. He's a fake motherfucker. He's always been a fake motherfucker. He ain't built like that. It's a bitch ass nigga, man. He's getting pressed by all niggas that don't even like his ass. See, me, the reason I don't go after him like last year, thank God I didn't, because I ain't one of these sycophants. That's you bitch ass niggas that want to hold his shit. Hold your own shit, nigga. You don't need no fucking support. He's a coward. And you got a guy, a Dr. Seuss character came up here, said some slick shit to Jay Shine, and he cooked his ass. Like, you think I give a fuck? I don't give a fuck. I told y'all what I said. Just be honest, bro. You niggas ain't shit, man. Y'all ain't gonna do shit about it. The whole point is, like, you thinking for yourself is like, you got to get away from the bullshit, the mundane echo chambers. I'm addressing one bitch ass nigga in particular, and that's AM, man. And his bitch ass followers. I'll make my mission to roast they bitch ass with screenshots, how pathetic they sound. I attack Oblivion, aka Obsidian and O'Shea. Fuck all the rest of them niggas. But I'm just saying, him in particular, they act like they want to protect him like KS. Like, fuck all them niggas, man. See, we the villain sphere. We say fuck everybody else for a reason. That's my stance. Everybody getting this word, man. Everybody. Fuck what a nigga think. Just hit the link if you have a problem with me, and I'll set it, and I'll knock your ass off the panel. I ain't got time for that bullshit. No windmilling up here either. If I see anybody women, I'll knock your ass off the panel along with it. I'm not playing this shit, bro. You got a lot of bitch ass niggas always want to hold someone else's nuts, but they can't hold their own. So get the fuck out of here and do some content, please. Don't fuck with me this year. Y'all some bitch ass niggas for real. Seriously. I respect people doing real content and not bitch and complain about women all day. I'm so tired of this pathetic ass black spaces that say the same shit. Fuck Tasha K. Fuck all them hoes. They're all garbage cans, bro. They're trash. I said she was trash last year. And what these bitch ass niggas do, they talk about the same shit 95% of the time. And this is proving my point why this series is called Embrace Being Your Own Thinking Skills. It's got nothing to do with politics. You could talk about politics in a small percentage because these niggas ain't gonna understand because they too goddamn slow to do research and read properly. Yeah, they can read and research bullshit, but can they read properly? Hell no. I'm just saying, man. I'm so tired of the fuck shit that they be on, man. Especially, particularly, the modern day manosphere. They bitch asses. I'm talking about the ones that claim they're 2.0, 3.0 motherfuckers. The reason I don't like their asses is pretty simple. I've had this angst for them since March. And I'm still going to have that angst for them all day. And I always going to say, fuck you. You know, yeah, it's competitive. You want to be competitive? Fuck your audience. Because your audience needs to think straight. And the ones particular I don't like in 3.0, y'all already know. I don't like 3 syllables, bitch ass. I don't like none of them niggas, man. And 2.0, they're the same. They come from the same nigga that calls himself the Grand Master. They call him the Grand Master or the Master Teacher. I don't use the term Master Teacher. They call him Grand Master. That's their master. Since they need a master for shit, you niggas can't think for your goddamn self. That's why I'm about in the 40-minute mark. I will show you the screenshots I should have shown on the advisor show because I already know I got 20 minutes. So for now on, if I show screenshots on his shit, I gotta have at least 10 screenshots. I'll say 5 or 10. Depends on the time. We'll explain. I'll skim through. And wherever's left over, I'll say 10. I'll say since it's 5 each, I'll do that. The good ones. And then we're gonna explain in that series. And I'll have my presentation like that. That's what I'm gonna do. Because 15, that's too much. I won't do 10 to 5. I won't say 5 to 10. I'll say 5 for 5 each. And I won't do that for now on. But the rest of the screenshots, if I want to do content like this right here, or Thursday Thrills, if I need a topic, we want to talk about the same old bullshit. And it is what it is. It's gonna be a small segment while we do the screenshots. I'm gonna add it. We're gonna talk about it. And we're gonna talk about the commenters, the people that support that shit, and super chats. We're gonna talk about how dumb people sound. I'm roasting this year, man. I'm not playing with you niggas, man, in these damn spaces. Y'all get what you get, man, because I'm watching how dumb people are, bro. The ones I frequent, you know, because I'm going to go to ones I'm going to look at. And then I'll get a positive screenshot. I might get one that's productive. You know what I'm saying? Show you the difference. I'll do something like that. But it's on my mind because once I figure out what I want, I'm going to take it. But those women channels, they going to say the same shit all the time. I mean, shouts out to the ladies, but, you know, they going to do them. Why go to their channels and go to dudes that act like women all day? I'm so tired, bro. I'm so tired. But, you know, he said he have a question. He said, man, pipe channel. I don't know what your question is. It's irrelevant. Because I'm sticking to the topic I won't have in the 40-minute. So, like I said, man, I see this a lot. You know, and I think when I do these screenshots, I'm just searching and seeing what people are saying and conversating and things like that. And they talk about the same old stuff. But you know what I've noticed about the audience? They're fickle. And I learned why they're fickle. And it took me to realize this like 2 years. And I go back, I said, man, most of them are inconsistent, bro. And then the next year they forget all about it. That's how pathetic the audience is. I don't think it's a black thing. I think it's just a bitch ass people thing. That's YouTube in general. And the reason I'm saying this, my honest, and it's not an opinion, this is factual. Opinions can be anything. You can say that, but it ain't no fucking opinion. Technically, it's factual because most of these motherfuckers is fucking trash, bro. Like, if you really listen to their comments, they sound retarded, bro. Like, fuck anybody else that sounds retarded on here. I'm just saying in general. Like, follow these stupid ass motherfuckers that be saying some shit, ain't really saying nothing. I'm not hating on nobody that watches them. I'm just saying, like, who watches that bullshit? Who watches that bullshit? Who watches that bullshit? I know people don't like what I'm saying, but but that's no here or there. But I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to be invested in that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I was looking at that shit. I said, and I was looking at my old and new screenshots I got, or the ones I recently have. It's just like it's the same old shit, man. But I could have got one today, but I wasn't in no mood for it because I'll probably get some new ones on Thursday because I want to see some drama and shit. But people gonna do them. But people gonna come through, whatever. So they ain't like when I said when I went on them hard. But I'll show them in the 40-minute mark. I know people is bouncing around and shit. But try and take people's views and shit. And they challenge is based off what? The drama and shit. But the thing is about me airing people out and what they're doing on actions, you just look at the super chats they have. See, I don't care for super chats, to be honest with you. They take like 40%. A lot of people say it's 30%. Actually, it's 40%. Because they take a half of your shit. So they want to talk about money and shit. I understand. I understand people gonna hate. I understand people gonna hate. And that's the whole point of me airing this shit out. And I think the beginning of the string, yeah, I said some harsh words right now, but I know people are tired of hearing it, but I don't give a fuck. Fuck their opinion. It's just what it is. It's not opinion, it's factual. Because most of the times when I see this shit, like 2 years in these newer spaces, which I would call black spaces or whatever it is, these niggas is inconsistent. And I said to myself, I mean, I got one with Cerulean Thai City. He interviewed this guy, debate, so-called debate, and he gave him that work. I didn't want to put that up there because I said, you know what? Nah, he challenged you in the chat room, but they ain't gonna respond to him. See, they scared when Cerulean say some real shit. But yeah, I still got the old screenshots with Ramil and shit like that. But yeah, but speaking of the screenshots that I got, they're not as bad as people think. And I think people just want to, oh, I done pissed them off that bad. So, I must have did. But, that's how I get down. I don't give a shit. We're going to get to this in a minute. And it's a good screenshot. I could have showed y'all the build up, but I didn't. But I have a lot more. I have the one with the Bernard Riley and shit. You'll see, it's like, I don't fuck with dude. I don't watch his shit. I could have got him, but I said to myself, nah, I'll use it on a certain content. We're going to use them in a segment in a minute because I want y'all to see the bullshit comments. And he has this little show because that's why I despise these niggas, man. As content creators, they ain't saying much. So, because I'm waiting until he hits to the 40-minute mark and I'll show y'all. We're going to talk about that Geno shit against Angry Man. But, that goes back to last year. And I try to tell him, chill with the shit. And he's doing his thing. So, yeah, it's tensions. And people was asking him questions in chat when he did it, man. They said, man, you ain't supposed to do that, man. You ain't supposed to throw that money like that to AM, man. But see, you got a lot of idol worshipers worshiping this man. Have Annihilator beard, man. That right there. And I think, shouts out to Legendary Wacky World of O. He said about the talking point thing. The same niggas that are trying to say they took my talking points is bitch ass niggas that follow AM. And y'all know who I'm talking about particular. That nigga. Ain't got no content. He don't do no live streams. He's not creative. He don't edit. He just runs his goddamn mouth like a panel prostitute, like a bitch ass nigga that he is. Fuck him and fuck them niggas over there that support that garbage over there. Black in name only. Get your coon ass off the fucking internet, man. Go outside, you bitch ass nigga. You're a half century old and you think you got all this power. You ain't shit. Fucking nigga. You know what I'm saying? But see, I hate niggas like him and the rest of these coons in these goddamn YouTube spaces. And this is why I say fuck the far right redneck shit. I'm so tired of this shit, man. Like, I used to got into the pro black stuff, but these niggas get on my nerves 95% of the time when I look at YouTube. Like, sometimes I look at different things on YouTube. Don't get me wrong. I was watching the news today about that Ukraine shit that's still going on, and Putin and things like that. And the Biden had his address. I'll get to that later in the stream, but what that was and things like that. It's just what it is, man. But yeah, you got to think for yourself, because some of these dudes, they just out here, just be tripping. But you know how it is. People gonna hate regardless. I mean, you got a lot of AM fans up in here, because I already know what my content is and my viewership. But they suckers, man. Like, why support a guy that talks about the same shit over and over again, and he can't talk about KS? Well, he don't need to. He said he cooked Kevin. Da, da, da. That's all he cares about. That's all the fuck he cares about. And you niggas think it's okay. Why follow a nigga like that? I'm not a KS fan. I'm gonna say this clearly. I'm not, for the record. I don't fuck with none of them niggas. I just have an issue with bitch ass niggas worshiping a man with an annihilated beard, and he's fake as hell. And I'm glad Dre showed that stream. Y'all need to watch that stream when I was on with Sheep and Ronan. And this dude's a fraud, man. I already knew he was a fraud when he switched. When he switched, I'm not surprised, because he wasn't really pro black in the first place. Look at his complexion. It's a fucking cretin. A fucking creature, man. I don't know what the fuck that thing is. That nigga ain't shit, bruh. Claiming he knows shit, but don't know a goddamn thing. Claim he's conservative. That nigga ain't conservative. He's a fucking liberal, man. It's a piece of shit. It's a piece of shit. See, niggas like him, I have angst with. It's a lot of niggas like that. Act like coons all day. And the thing I don't understand is just, man. Yeah, man. Like, I always have a question with that nigga too, Sharp. But that nigga, man, right there, bro, I just can't listen to him. I'll say about 6 hours, because I know he does long streams, so he can do about 6 to 4 or something like 3 hours. I can't with his bullshit rhetoric. And the reason I did that stream, it's just what it is. I can't listen to a motherfucker that be saying the dumbest shit all the time, and then you go against everybody else. See, my issue is it's pretty simple. Like, when you listen to guys like that, I question everything, man. I question your content, your character, your judgment. It's just niggas just need to know their place, bro. Like, I don't take this dude like he say he from New York. Dude, you're from VA. What's wrong with VA? I mean, this nigga is a fraud, bro. I always said he was a fraud 2 years ago. I already knew who he was back in the day. He wasn't shit back in the day. He was just a guy that had nice views. He talked about black women. That was his views, because it was I want to tell you the history of old YouTube. Old YouTube and old 1.0 days, the black women topics were not popular. It was minute. Everybody was talking about sports, politics, technology. They was talking about video games. It was a well-balanced, especially on YouTube. I'm talking about early YouTube. That's what they was on. And music. Music was big back then. Music was big. I would say when the height of YouTube, I would say 07 until I'll say 2014, around this period. And this is around my time. See, a lot of people think they weren't big in 05. 06 and 05, that's brand new on this site, because music wasn't prevalent like that. It was prevalent, but it wasn't prevalent. You had your battle rap, you had your things like that. You had other music genres was popping. But when you had actual music of all genres you could listen to, the height of it was 07. The next year was fantastic, even though they did the monetization bullshit and screwing people over. But all the way through the years until 2014, that's the best years of music you heard. 2012 was the greatest height of it. That's when shit ended, when the smartphone era became at its height. And you look at it now, 2015, the black woman rhetoric talk was big back in '06 in small sectors. But the funny thing was, it wasn't popular. It was popular by Sergeant Willie Pete. That shit died out in 2014. People got tired of it, us particular. And we just get tired of the shit. Like, bruh, like we're so tired of the rhetoric. Like, it's to the point. You got to talk about different things. So yeah, since it's the 40-minute mark, we here now. Let's show the screen share. I'm gonna show y'all a little minute because um I'm gonna make this light. This is the segue to what I'm talking about. And I'm glad I got the screenshot. I could have showed this on the advisor because I didn't have much time, so I don't blame. I had a lot of screenshots. I will delete half of these later. Now you see here, this is the king of the LBM Coliseum. Shouts out to Ramil. You got Big Truck. I don't know who this Gregory guy is. This is last week, and that's J.I. I'm calling the Wagon or Pagan. Can we say Pagan or Wagon? Yeah, this dude. I don't care for him like that, but this is their infamous guy with the DBZ shit. But she said, congratulations to my Ramil. Call him Ramil. Okay. A lot of super chats. Nick Penn, Doug. Shouts out to Doug. Ramil, we on fire 19. And this right here is when they talk about trolling, and he was tripping right here. So we'll get to that in a minute. Instead of trolling me, he said, put your money where your mouth is and support the show. See, here you go. Trying to big Ramil's head up. He said, your baby mom done gone, cost you a payment. See, that's how these niggas think. They stupid in the chat room. Ain't talking about nothing productive. But I want y'all to look at this right here. This nigga right here is desperate. When you have $100, for what? Nigga, you might as well drop 25, man. It's just like everybody else. Like, you doing this shit, trying to be extra with it. Like, stop it. You're worse than the culture. And here's what led up to it. Here's what my man did. And I showed this part. This is the second part. This is the beginning. I should have showed the build up with the female. He gets pegged by the name he be defending. Yeah, he talking about J.I. on this one. And see, Ramil posts this shit on the screen, right? We get it. We get it. We know you are a AM supporter. We know that's your God. This is their God and Savior. But Gino was right here. So you already said someone say that today, and that's me. And I was laughing at Smooth right there. See, I was in the chat, semi-trolling, laughing my ass off, watching, observing. Yes, getting the screenshot. That was mine. And guess what he said? It wasn't even at him. And he said, educated Lane stay winning over fake YouTube stepdaddy gangsters. War against Pookie, of course. But we don't really care for that. And when he said that shit, man, that got AM tight. And let's go right here. What started, and people's concerned, like, hey man, Gino, man, you crazy, man. We'll get to that in a minute. And I was just trolling right here. But this dude tried to get this Lars on Ash Ale, this fucking clown. Like, come on, bro. Like, y'all got to do better. And this is what Ramil did this on purpose to troll. He read this shit, but then he realized that when he was high, he said, I said, God damn, I didn't know he was trolling AM. I said, nigga, y'all need to watch that stream, man. How that play out. And I was in the chat room. That nigga sounded defeated. He had to get off the panel. He said, any last words? He said, I'll go. I said, man, this nigga right here, bro. This fucking nigga right here, bro. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, see, I'm glad. And Gino asked me, I said, no, go on. You have a mind of your own. You're a grown ass man. If you want to troll him with the cash app, I mean, not cash app, but the super chat, do your thing. Do your damn thug dizzle. Told him do the damn thing. If anybody asks why I said that, I said what I said. Nigga, y'all ain't doing nothing. And he said, accident, add a 0. Yeah, 500 limited per day. KD. Here's what I said. Here's what the fuck I said in the chat room. I said gold medal for Gino from the LBM Coliseum. I was on my bullshit then. Ramil was laughing at that too. Quiet as kept when I keep saying that. Gino trying to purchase the channel stock. See, there he go with his bullshit. That dude's weird too. Educated brother Roscoe. See, he agreed with Gino right here. Golf clap. He said golf clap. See, they salute Gino doing that shit. You see that? He getting praise right here. Being educated is not lame. See, there he goes. See, he's hurt. He's hurt with what Gino said. This is another clown. One of these idiots in these chat rooms. That's what you get. Anytime you have a large following, not a large following, but if anything, you have a large crowd in your chat rooms, you're always gonna have some weirdos popped up. That's why he don't have a lot of mods. A lot of people say it's a good thing. It's a good thing, but a lot of times they just skywatch, but they want attention. They ain't got nothing to say, and I see why they scared. But get 1,000. See, he always gets. See, people don't understand. Ramil gets views. The most he'll get is 700, and he's got 1,000 many times on the old channel he sold it to. But that's the screenshot that I showed y'all. But we're gonna skim through these, and I'm gonna get to the nitty gritty, like right here. Now, this. Let's start with Bernard right here. Now, I wanted to do him. He ain't got nothing as a screenshot, and they was talking about fresh and fit. So you got the Rod guy, you got Game Changer, and then Bernie Povich, but we don't care. He said I have a question and shit like this, and that's just what it is, bro. I'm just gonna put this right here because it's like repeat from last night. And I was looking at that screenshot. The only thing the people can get Tommy for is because he caused the situation to put females in competition. I don't see what he said. And loser got mad at and turning him. That's Dolomite. They be saying some dumb shit in the chat. He has sense. They love Kwame. See, you got a lot of nut riders too in this chat, but they're irrelevant. Like, let's not worry about dude. And then Ramil shit is normal. That's normal with Ramil. See, we already know. I got screenshots for days, bro. And look at the title of the video. What they talking about? They said Pookie's and the same old shit. This is what these dudes talk about. They ain't got nothing productive to say. And let's look at the. We ain't gonna look at the people on the panel. We're just gonna look at the people what they say in the chat on YouTube. When the last time y'all heard this convo happen in your social circle, be real. The person that said that, I didn't get his name. That's a hell of a point. Because shouts out to Silent Lamont, known as Keith, right? Aaron B. Boom, you are correct. He said you are correct. I think that was Aaron B. I believe. See, yeah. SWP made the term because women said educated dudes were lame. No, he didn't. He got it from a black woman's book. That's why I found out from Wacky. But shouts out to Wacky and everything else. And I want y'all to read this. This is Melly Monaco shit. I'll be everywhere. I have 2 kids, my G. Look at this stupid shit. And I know the rules. I got the girls already. I'm trying to help y'all out. Trust me. See, this dude was clowning and trolling. See, normally I'm gonna stop it right here, but yeah, I got so much of these shits, man. It ain't even funny, bro. I won't say that for later, but yeah, man. Yeah, it's crazy, man, because that was for the visors. It is what it is. And I think the whole purpose of me doing that was going information, man. Salute. And it's just what it is at so many points. I think when we talk about different things, and I think I'm gonna reference what Real Deal Financial said to me this past Sunday. He said, everybody's talking about the same stuff. Well, I just showed you screenshots in the 40 minutes. It's almost about to be 50. We're gonna segue to something else. That's all they talk about. In these spaces, and I think the advisor said the same thing yesterday. Yeah, that's all they talk about. These niggas talk about that. And there's a reason why we do that segment, and that's a form of their own dereliction, man. They love topics like these, and the reason I'm saying is that people get these large rooms is because basic ass shit like that. You know, it's worse now. Clubhouse is 10 times worse. I agree with Gully TV. I just watched Gully TV going against this paparazzi Poe. I'm gonna segue into that in a few seconds, and then I'm gonna drop it. We're gonna go in it right now since we're here. Paparazzi Poe, so-called Alpo's son, right? technically it's not his son because he don't have pictures of Alpo when he was a kid with him. So I still don't believe that. And even Gully said that he was the first one to cover Haitian Jack and things like that. He did a stream today. He did 2 streams. They were short. He said this nigga be lying out here, which he is. That little nigga be lying. Nobody believes his ass. When you call yourself paparazzi Poe, that's suspect. Where's your baby pictures? That's all I'm saying. Just like these niggas in these certain modern day manosphere spaces, and 2 versions of it, by the way, on the black side, and then mainstream manosphere, they do the same dumbass shit too. A lot of people say they don't. Yes, they do. You just got to catch them. Just troll them with the super chats. Watch the chat room react. Same shit, right? And the audience is just fickle, man. They just do what they do, bro. Like we can't expect people to be genuine on here and they do dumb shit like this, bro. We cannot expect that. I'm just sorry, bro. Like, from my knowledge, it is what it is. Um, some people get mad about certain screenshots. I don't give a fuck. Some people just need to just sit down and shut the fuck up sometimes, bro. We just gonna be here talking about this for eons, man. Like, normally I don't do this type of stuff, but I wanted to show you for this series that that's what this is based off of. Trying to get away from topics like that and what they're talking about. So if you notice, I don't put those in my titles, and then they look at you talking about that shit. That's how they mark your ass, because they know what you're talking about. That's how black women mark you. Then they want to argue with you for damn near how long. It's just even crazy. When I first came to these newer spaces, man, that's what they're talking about. That shit's dead, bro. Like, those conversations died 2014. A lot of people said 15, 6, 18. No, them died a long time ago. It's just a repeat of bullshit. And people are tired of hearing it. It's just like the consciousness community all over again. And you get tired of hearing that shit over time. It sounds good for the first time, but they think that's a topic. It's a bullshit topic. Like, what they do is, it's not even relevant. The only way you can make it relevant, are you doing something to fix your community? And I tell those people, hell no. They don't fix nothing. That's my issue. Why I do streams like these, because to counter this shit, see, I'm antagonistic. I don't mind being the bad guy to these niggas. They think they heroes trying to slay some women. I got news for you. You niggas is desperate. They already label you as terrorists. I mean, we said that last year. Y'all ain't get the memo? Y'all ain't get the memo? It's more than just a magazine. No, they label you as terrorists, but it's a sting out about to come in March. I don't think it's gonna be early March, but it could be mid March. But but y'all keep doing them topics. See what happens. I already got the screenshots on y'all asses, man. Like, it's sad, bro. But that shit with Gino was very telling. See, that's payback. When AM public execute him, he always says this all the time. And I said, Gino, you ain't the first, ain't the last. A lot of people got public executed. We just mentioned our mod, gracious mod, Shar herself, and Ruby, of course, Jay Shine. It's a lot of shit. It all stems from another platform or apps like Discord and things like that, Twitter or whatever. In certain chat rooms and DMs and shit like that, yeah, shit gets leaked. But he did lie. They like to co-op niggas. I'm gonna tell you a thing I should have said over at Advisors, his earlier stream yesterday. I was holding back for a reason, because I didn't want to give everybody no meat, because you got a lot of fanatics. His fanatics be crawling over there as well. When I was looking at that, I was like, no, nigga, you just a co-opper. But you want to call yourself black in name only. Like, stop it, bro. The Black Order, it was something. But shouts out to Cerulean for saying that. It was something. They kept it stable. It was him, I believe Shar, and a lot of people. They kept that shit stable. I heard a lot of good things about it years ago. This dude right here wants to do this red pill shit. I understand, because the red pill to us back then was Really basic. It wasn't really about women all the time. No, you actually did shit. The women was just a reward for through the trials. And I think in that movie, he was trying to save the girl, which he was doing. See, the blue pills, Agent Smiths. These are Agent Smith niggas that we got in these sectors, YouTube, and things like that. They represent what's wrong with society, bitching, complaining. You see it, it's all cultures and it's spreading. It's like a cancer, bro. That's why you see all these shootings and shit. But motherfuckers is so dumb and don't realize that that shit don't get you nowhere, bro. So don't get me started about shit like that, bro. Like I'm not even in the mood this year to just argue with you niggas, man. Y'all the same niggas want to cry the same shit and sentiments all the time, bro. Like I'm done talking about that shit. I'm done talking about that bullshit. And quiet as kept, we just gonna keep it 1,000, bro. Like we just gonna keep it what it is and above board. So because I know people are watching it and they getting upset and getting tight when I show that AM screenshot. Yeah, I was trolling and talking my shit, but it's a news segment. But you know what it is. It is what it is. So that's what I'm saying. But in so many words, I'm just looking at them. I'm like, man, that's all they talk about. That's all they talk about. Let's see what's going on here because I don't think I got anything to show. Let's see. Let's see right quick. I ain't got nothing juicy, but there was one screenshot I was gonna show, but I said, nah, there's no need. But you got these guys, man. I gotta clear some off the phone, but that Lapeef shit, yeah, they got that crew over there like on lock. But that BGS one that shared my shit, that's a whole nother thing. But shouts out to DS1, but he shared the advisor shit one time. I got that screenshot. But that classic him and Grinch over at Antes, that was entertaining. He bodied two niggas that day, man. Niggas is crying about that shit. That's why they on panels and trying to get views and shit. I see what them niggas doing, but see they ain't got no content and they don't do what I do. Ain't trying to say we represent the sweat. No, you don't. You ain't doing you haven't done no real content. You're just a fucking follower, bro. You don't even know how to lead. Like you got niggas claiming they doing something, but ain't doing a damn thing. When I say bitch ass niggas, I'm talking about niggas like him in particular. That always AM worships. The reason I don't like his ass and the rest of them niggas, and this goes back to March when I first met these fools over the third shift. They the same type of niggas that's going on. What's going on, Simply Neat? They the same type of niggas that always irks me. Like the fanaticism and shit. Like this is why I hate fanatics. That's why I support who I support. I'm a supporter, not a fanatic. You know, see, I'm the bad guy. I'm the villain. I'm the guy that you ain't gonna like the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? I'm the guy that's gonna get on your nerves, call shit out. And I think me and Ronan talk about that a little bit off air when we was over at the advisors the second time. And yeah, man, that's what I do, man. Like I call out the bullshit for what it is. Y'all talk about these weird shits. I should have screenshot the shit y'all say in the comment section. Even I put myself in there. I just showed y'all what I be doing in there and just observe. And if I have a back and forth screenshot with one of those people, you'll see what I meant. I don't usually type in the chat like that. I used to 2 years ago, and I kind of stopped. So at the time, I didn't know what screenshot was. Should have, but but I'm glad I like the Discord, man. It's a whole nother story. But I got my own server, joining the Captains, his Villain Sphere server, and it's cool. But it is what it is. I think people just love fanaticism, man. And they gonna like who they like. See, I ain't with that. I'm guns blazing. Everybody wants you to attack a certain people. No one gives a fuck about Obsidian, man. Like, he's nobody. He's already been beaten up. We already roasted him last year. So the whole purpose of with Oblivion, it is what it is. A lot of niggas just want to get mad all the time and expect me to care. I don't care about that nigga, man. I don't care about the Grandmaster, which y'all call Black Gnostic Speaks BGS. He gonna do his thing. He's got the Igmore crew, the clan. I mean the clan. That's their clan, and they desperate for attention. Then you got old Slayer. He be slaying shit, but no one cares about old Slayer. It is what it is, man. Like, I'm just like, wow, bro. Like, they always care about them niggas, and then he's mad about that. He took his shit down. Like, dude. And the reason people don't go at the AMC, I'm not the person that go at him. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say about him. This dude irks me more than anything how he sounds. Like, I've been on panels with him, I'll say at least 7 times. Not impressed. And that shit with little TP threatening his grandmother or his dead grandmother. It's talk bad about his dead grandmother. I'm like, who cares? To be honest with you, who cares? Like, if you're tripping off of that and you're 40 something years old, you already done grieved her. Move on, nigga. That's why I told that nigga, move on. Move on. I don't know if Kuda took that stream down, whatever, but if he did, at the time he was on Angerman's nutsack. I'm just gonna say it like it is, but it's no hate to Kuda. I'm just saying it's obvious you was babysitting the nigga. I already know the truth behind that off air. Cause I already know about that. We had an off air conversation. I think we told him about that too. Yeah, AM was looking for a babysitter, bro. That's what you're seeing over in Ramil's right now. So that dude ain't got no content. Sorry, man. I mean, I know people follow him and love the dude, but them followers are delusional as fuck too. They the same type of people that will donate their hard-earned money to a guy that ain't shit. Bruh, it's just pathetic, bruh. Like, I'm just so tired of these bitch ass niggas, man. And the reason I go after their heads like the way they do, they deserve to get what they get. They the same type of niggas that the advisor said they be trauma bonding, and he's the main one that promotes that bullshit. Always gonna blame the obvious. No, I know people don't care for BGS. I don't really mess with him like that either because he don't do streams like that because he's under fire right now with these niggas and they little civil war. We do what we do, but niggas like your boy, the Annihilator one, this motherfucker is the main one I can't stand. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the dude that I look at as a problem. But I show those screenshots for a reason. Like, I'm not acknowledging nobody again. Like, this dude, man, it's not even worth it. And I think he was in another stream, but there's a reason why he's over at Mills. We already know that. He's looking for attention, he's looking for a come up. He mad because KS blew past his ass. And they mad. That's all these niggas, man. And let me tell you something. I don't give a fuck about Kevin Samuels, to be honest with you. I don't. And don't act like, I'm bigging this nigga. Fuck that nigga too. Fuck all them niggas. They all the same. They created them. They're to blame, and they got to own up to it. But this nigga with the annihilated beard don't want to admit up to shit. He deserved to get cooked this year because I didn't cook him last year. I spared him last year. I was on Kuda shit. This year, I'm gonna lobotomize him this year with the screenshots. Told you, man. He's a fucking clown, bro. He gonna shut the fuck up this year because he's getting tortured by the villains this year. You think you're a villain? Let's prove it to the test. Hold your own shit. A lot of people say hold your own nuts, but hold your own shit, nigga. He can't even do that. He's pathetic, man. He's pathetic. He's the type of nigga that boils down to what's going on. And I'm just trying to, like, Look, dude, I don't care about anything. I'm just saying, like, for what it is, bruh. Like, bruh, I'm tired of people just defending this dude, man. Like, I'm really tired of that shit. So, anyways, I see people for who they are, bruh. And I'm just like, I'm glad. I'm glad people are roasting him and clowning his ass. Ain't nobody putting no fear in his heart. He's the type of nigga to be like, all right, I'm gonna be here, and I'm just gonna be like, hey, we're just gonna do our thing. But you got niggas will always defend this motherfucker, bruh. They defend this motherfucker. They defend this motherfucker, man. It is what it is. And it's just like what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I look at him and all these bitch ass niggas that defend him, right? And they try to come at me in the chat. Fuck all you niggas. Um, that's me personally. The reason I don't acknowledge you niggas no more, and the one particular, the banana peels looking like fucking Harambe. He's a piece of shit. Take his dick out your mouth. Y'all, you know who I'm talking to, you bitch ass nigga. Trying to say a fake Atlanta hat. My hat's real, nigga. Address your fucking fake Tims, weak motherfucker. You was crying when the guy, shouts out to DS1, cooked your bitch ass, and you was crying when he talked about your fake Tims. You ain't got no straps. The brown straps on the top. So don't come at me, you bitch ass nigga. Get some content or shut the fuck up like I told you. Y'all don't fucking listen. That light skinned nigga don't give a fuck about your dark skinned ass. As soon as he publicly executes your bitch ass, you gonna force to make some content. Watch. Cause that much, but you don't listen. You're a fuck nigga. But see, fuck niggas like him, he need to be publicly executed. Fuck all them niggas that don't listen. We done warned y'all many times about this nigga. This nigga's one of them. He's the type of nigga that will always cry about who blames me, who's me, woe is me, shit like that. The fuck out of here, bruh. I'm so tired of bitch ass niggas that defend this motherfucker. They the main ones and they a half century old. I'm talking about these bitch ass niggas like Mr. Pills that's 40 plus years old, and this other nigga is 40 plus years old himself. I hate bitch ass niggas like that. I hate bitch ass niggas in the Gen X department. Fuck boys that defend bitch ass niggas that can't produce nothing in life. I say fuck all the generations. I hate generational supremacy talks. I really do. Quiet that's one of my biggest pet peeves. I know my generation ain't shit. We ain't perfect. Who cares? It's these bitch ass niggas to be complaining. They need to be executed, to be honest with you. Quiet as kept. I'll save a select few to the younger generation from Alpha and some Z's. That's it. They're willing to do the shit. I just let them have it. See, I ain't trying to save everybody, man. Fuck everybody else. Fuck everybody else. And I mean that. I mean the bottom of my heart. Because these niggas get on my nerves. Every time I watch this shit, I just laugh at them, man. They so dumb. They don't give a shit. Why would I support niggas like that? They ain't really got no content, but they cry about the same old shit. I'm just saying the same old shit. Like, I don't care about that P-Way shit. That's another one I can't stand. Like, shots at the Cuda, but I just can't entertain that shit. One, as long as you got bitch ass niggas in your circle, they don't give a fuck about you. Like, let's be honest, bruh. Why listen to bitch ass niggas like Mr. Pills and bitch ass AM that don't fucking respect you? And Oblivion, he's another one using his camp. They don't fucking respect you. I'm done saving niggas that don't listen. I'm done saving niggas. I was done last year doing that shit. This year, no. Hold your own shit and stay on your motherfucking square. I'm talking about all bitch ass niggas in general that always do this dumb shit. And then you got niggas like Mal Miniman / AM, his bitch ass. He ain't gonna do shit. I ain't scared to say his name. I already said fuck the nigga. I ain't gonna say he ain't nothing angry man about him. He's a bitch ass nigga. He's a mild manner man, and gender man or wherever he is, a cretin. That's what the fuck he is. He's a fucking loser, man. Half the ones that's doing good in his generation are in the minority. Same with mines. It's always gonna be class and motherfuckers, fucking niggas. It's always gonna be about class. It's always have been, always will be. It ain't gonna be about color. Color is just a construct. Yeah, there's race problems everywhere else. I acknowledge that. I acknowledge slavery. I acknowledge all that shit. But I'm just saying it's a class struggle too. That's what's killing everybody. We're always gonna be that way. As long as this country was built, it's built on class and structure. Race is a construct. That's a distraction. Because once you get past that shit, yeah, don't trust motherfuckers. I agree with that. I said all fair, but it's a class shit. Always gonna be about class and jealousy. Soon as when the money class and certain classes in, it's always gonna be about class. That's why everybody always want anarchy every now and then. They don't want totalitarian governments. They don't want no fascist regimes and shit. Or should we say regime change? Anyone? But anyways, that's a whole nother spiel on that. But I'm just saying, but niggas like this come online, talk shit, but don't produce any content. I'm just saying, bruh. I don't want to be bothered this year because me addressing this nigga and that fucking nut rider, the no one nut rider for him, I'm holding his head to the fire. He said, nobody check me. Shut your bitch ass up. The reason I let your bitch ass live and the reason I ain't go at your head like that, you just a fuck nigga, man. Nobody likes your bitch ass. You just a bitch ass nigga that wants attention, bro. You're a fucking loser. You're a fucking loser. See, niggas like him, I don't take seriously, bro. Ain't nobody gonna fight your bitch ass. You just retarded, bro. Like a fucking ape. It's gone, Bronzeberg. Peace. But I'm just saying, niggas like that, I'm done talking to niggas like that. Fuck your apology, nigga. And fuck you and fuck the niggas that support that whole ass nigga on the other side. I said it. Fuck that nigga and fuck anybody that support that nigga, man. I stand on that shit. I mean that shit. Cause that nigga don't give a fuck about none of y'all. Y'all gonna learn. That's what we was trying to do with DS1 and Ronin. They ain't cool like that with that nigga. Every time I hear stories about him getting exposed, a lot of niggas, and I've been saying this for years, it's something weird about that nigga. I expected this years ago. I knew he was a problem years ago, and I knew he was a problem when he was going to do this weak ass persona. It was something in my mind like 2 years ago. Everybody has issue with this nigga, and I know what it is. He's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. Y'all can say what you want to say about me going against his ass. I don't give a fuck. I've always been like that. I was like that last year. The only reason I was quiet on that panel, I didn't fuck with that nigga like that. He's nobody. To me, he's nobody, to be honest with you. Yeah, he's somebody on YouTube, but he's nobody in real life. Like, I don't take that dude seriously, bro. Seriously. Nobody respects that dude, man. That's a fucking clown nigga, man. See, niggas like that, we already know what time it is. But when you got bitch ass niggas that think I'm black in name only, you're a coon. You're a fucking coon. You're a fucking coon. Transracial identified male talk. See, when you got niggas like AM, we already know what time it is. We already know what time it is. Niggas like him always irk me, man. Like, see, I separate my shit from this shit to on here. See, on YouTube, see, I'm being a content creator. I'm talking as a content creator. I ain't trying to say this and that. I just diss his content. Yeah, it is talking points and things like that. But I'm not gonna argue with that nigga. That nigga's not intellectually smart. He's a fucking idiot. He's a fucking idiot. He's the same idiot that can't even get his shit right. And he has that R320, right? Am I correct? The R320? Hell, he broke that by fucking smoking that goddamn cigar. and barely use it. He's using the shotgun mic. Quiet as kept. That nigga's dumb. It's all an act. Shouts out to the advisor slash the petty officer himself, DeAndre, right? Just DeAndre, my ad. He said that. It was all an act. And I already knew it was an act because I already knew he was fake. And he claimed he's from New York. No, nigga, you from VA. Nobody likes this nigga. And the reason I didn't go on that bandwagon and say, let's go after Angry Man shit, I didn't need to. I already knew he was a clown. So I can cook and roast him and forget about that nigga. That nigga's nobody, bro. Like that nigga is jealous of another nigga that got it, and then you could have done the same shit eons ago. Eons ago. He could have did that shit in Quiet as Kept by 2017. If he didn't get flagged, he could have did that shit. But see, when you got niggas that don't understand the intricacies of people, you know what time it is. But you got niggas that want to nut ride everybody. To me, I don't do that. I mean, I hold my own shit, but I'm just saying I give praise and respect to my villains. I mean, they do the good work. Same with me and everything else. It's different. It's different. Because I'm not going to reference the so-called manosphere leaders of that sector and slash 3.0. They act just like them too. That Edward Anderson and that fucking complex shit, that was expected 2 years ago. That goes back to the Coliseum days. That's all that was. And the reason I didn't want to do the screenshots on those two individuals, I don't care for neither one, because a lot of that's for attention, shock value, and shit like that. It ran Art's numbers up, and it is what it is. And his shit went down to 60 when that shit took the Edge channel. I told you, most people gonna like Edward Anderson. I mean, I don't care for the motherfucker, but the juggernaut himself, but he's gonna get those numbers regardless because they talk about the same shit all the time, like these niggas I showed you, screenshots, right? That's the whole person that I look at. So I'm just saying, bruh. I'm just saying. Like, I'm just trying to think about certain things, and I'm just like, bruh, who cares? Who cares? And I'm just thinking like this. When you got guys like that looking for something, it's just what it is. And I think people just get upset when I talk about, oh boy, I'm gonna show you who I'm talking about, because y'all niggas don't get it. Because when I cooked his ass last night, right, and in the Derlick News Network, I just like this dude is a fucking loser, bruh. Like, I got screenshots of this punk nigga all day talking about the same shit. And when Gino called his bluff, and this nigga looks so dumb with this DBZ shit and try to co-opt the villains. This is a co-opter, y'all. Look, guess what they was talking about? KS. Ain't nobody hating your weak ass. Ain't nobody hating your weak ass. I'm glad I got the screenshot. And who's this white boy right here? This Asian boy y'all got. I know Red was in the chat, but I ain't studying about that. And look, he try to say exactly, good businessmen have partners and friends, and you can't have that being a snake all the time. This nigga's a snake. A Joel Breezy, you fucking retard. You're a fucking retard. God, these niggas are so goddamn slow. They need their brain splattered, man, for real. Turn to a new city. You mean New Jack City, Ball Johnson. Learn how to spell right, motherfucker. I mean, I make some incorrect spelling, correct my shit, but goddamn, typos, that happens. But at least acknowledge that shit. God damn. Hulk is decent, but he be fence sitting sometimes. I have an issue with him. He's all right, but sometimes I have an issue with him. He be nut riding Mr. Fittinelli. And one is cool. He's cool. VA is all right with me. I ain't got no problem with VA. But these two motherfuckers right here, who's he? Is he trying to fit in? Is this y'all Asian wanderer? Is this y'all's Asian wanderer? He said Asian wanderer. He's like a white boy to me. And you in a DBZ character. Come on, man. With him? See, that's what y'all doing now. See, that's that bullshit I'm talking about. That's that trim shit. I know what y'all niggas be talking about. And I'm just showing you a few that why I did this. He said, y'all tripping. I agree with this comment right here. And I'm glad I said that the other night. And the reason I said that is he's right. It's never been principle. He talking about them niggas. By estrogen. Paul Johnson said, yeah. Fuck this nigga. I don't like his bitch ass. He's a bitch ass troll. I said it. Fuck that nigga. He ain't welcome over here. Y'all see this nigga and y'all don't rock with this nigga, block his bitch ass. I don't like that nigga. He always instigating shit. Fucking bitch. But anyways, but see, that's me yawning. That's CW acting a fool. Agent CW. Here's me not giving a fuck. I'm gonna show you me for me only. See, when I do this, I'm bored with the conversation, with the eyes and all that. When I do this right here, y'all, for me, if y'all see this in my statue, if I do this, I'm bored with the bullshit conversation. So enough of the screenshots, man. Like I'm just tired of dude, bro. Like we gotta stop. We gotta stop acting like this nigga ain't about it like that, bro. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Like niggas just they kill me with that bullshit. So I'm just gonna stick with it and yeah, I'll open this up. It's like an hour long, so I'm not gonna be on this bitch that long. We'll see, because I know people are patiently waiting and things like that. So you know what I'm saying. Like I had to show a little few screenshots for y'all. So let me change up a little bit. Let me talk to y'all. Yeah, let me get this shit on the way. Yeah, motherfuckers is acting crazy. Yeah, I'm so tired of the bullshit. I know people want to go see art and shit. I ain't got time for that shit. Let me get my shit right. Yeah, let me pin this. Yeah. Let me pin that. Yeah, I'm good right now. But yeah, that's the topic I was on about that last night. But last night was pretty cool. But shouts out to the advisor once again. I gotta see the replay of that shit, man. Like, bro, like y'all giving me some content to work with. But communitarianism, we're gonna talk about that tomorrow. Since I know people don't want to talk about the other things, but besides the bullshit with KS and Tasha K, fuck all that shit, bro. Y'all ain't talking about nothing. But shouts out to Wacky with that 2 hour stream with the domestic violence for self defense is acceptable for men and things like that. So that's a whole nother story. So yeah.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Hello, how are we doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I just wanted to know what's your views towards me, first of all. Are we still cordial? We still good?
Yeah, we cordial. We good.
You're good? I don't know, because I don't need to be get caught in the crossfires or anything. Everybody has a right to like and dislike who they want. But I just want to make sure. I just need to know where the lines are, where I fit in with other people. You know what I'm saying? Get tired of it, because just don't want any confusion. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I ain't no confusion. I'm just addressing certain individuals that rock with dude. Like, I know people don't like him. I don't care for none of these dudes. Like, this is me. I don't give a fuck what y'all talk about, but don't bring
Mm-hmm.
that shit to me. Like I see the windmills and chats. Like I address certain people that I don't like. Like I always have issues with them from other channels, and they had this angst since for me since March. And the reason I don't like this clown nigga that y'all kind of protect, I'm checking him because he fucks with that dude. And the reason I'm doing that because he don't do content particular. Y'all know who I'm talking about. And the reason I don't like his ass, I'm making it personal to him as a content. He's not a content creator, by the way. He's a piece of shit. He don't do no content. He's the type of dude that doesn't challenge the people he listens to. But so I can't change his mind. He's a half century old. That's why I don't listen to guys like him. And I had
Mm-hmm.
issues with him since months and months ago, and he had that angst. So ever since that issue, I think Auntie did that purge shit. It was our fault, but it turned into left field. So my angst with him is always going to be personal online, but offline, I don't really care for the dude because he's irrelevant. But this dude, like, come on, man, just get a life and do your content, man, or just move forward. And the reason I'm coming at his head so hard is to piss
Mhm.
certain those followers off. And there's a reason why I don't care for AM like that now, because I'm going after his followers. So go after him, he's gonna cry and complain, just like everybody else. And I said it to dude, like he's gonna turn on you eventually. I don't care about his followers like that. That dude's fake, bro. That dude's
It's
fake.
okay. I understand your point because I don't watch his content anyway.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people whose content I don't follow anyway. As far as some certain individuals that you have an issue with, I understand what you mean, and I'm not gonna. They can defend themselves, and thankful. And this is why And given that I'm non-ADOS, I can say I learned from my forefathers when they said, from everyone you interact, take what you need and leave the rest. Or if you ever studied capoeira, one of the great masters, Mr. Pastinha, once said, "Capoeira is everything you can eat or anything you can consume." So, learn what you need and leave everything to them.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
try to tell people that. I said, you know what? It's cool. But then when I try to tell dude, man, like, see, when I first met him, I didn't know what he was about at the time, but I didn't know he was like a big supporter to that individual. I said, "Oh man, here we go, here we go," because I know there's gonna be some differences in space. I get it, and I was looking at the Ed and versus complex thing that goes back to the Coliseum days, and I said, when the reason I say that, I seen that 2 years ago. Like I knew it was gonna happen when he did a video on him, so that's why I didn't get involved in that. But this dude that be trolling and be on panels, y'all know who I'm talking about. That dude, I'm like, man, why y'all have this dude, man? Like, make this
it's
man do some content.
this is why I don't get involved in a lot of this stuff anyway.
Yeah,
So
but
I also realize,
I be around a lot. I mean, I watch different things too, but they ain't
mm,
talking about nothing. You know, that's the issue. And I think when you're in these spaces by accident, algorithm, you're
mm,
gonna see that individual. So I don't get on panels like that no more. I mean, it
although,
was cool for
yeah,
2 years, but yeah, I
same
cut
here.
that
It's
shit
been
off
like just for
last
the
year.
past year myself. I've been avoiding certain panels myself. There's been people who I've unsubscribed to because I realized, it's like that old saying, "Go where you celebrate, not where you're tolerated." I realize there's
Yeah.
certain spaces where I am not welcomed. I had to realize that. And by the way, my bad about all them times I've asked for the link when you guys wanted to have the villain sphere stuff. I realize I'm not a villain, but at least I could have, things could have been made clearer, so there wouldn't have been any
Oh,
misunderstandings.
that's what the I think that's
But
only yeah
only.
he yeah only is doing that. That's a thing because we had issues with certain individuals from
Mhm.
certain websites, and we had one individual we're going to address him in the future. But you know that's I think that's what me
Nothing
and
personal.
Dre.
I understand where he's coming from, so I figured, I'll leave. I
Yeah,
just figured,
yeah, we're
still keep
dealing
my
with our little thing over there
distance.
in the Discord, and we're solving our issues off air and how we address that because we ain't gonna put that out in the public like that. Unlike certain individuals, like they do on their camp. So I'm just saying, like, and the reason I did those streams to those certain individuals to remind them because I already know what my audience is. It's a mixture of theirs and everybody else's. So I had to be careful who I align myself with because they be talking about the same rhetoric, and I understand where they coming from. But dude, that shit's done. I left that shit in the summer, in the spring, because my content was changing. Once I had Dre and Cerulean, it was a wrap because they on a different type of time when they did do their content. But I'm glad he's doing streams again because I'm gonna do one tomorrow. It's gonna be what we gonna call it, communitarianism. I saw that. That's another one. And then the Thursday stream I'm gonna do, but you know, it's gonna be something. But yeah, because this one, the reason I did this on Tuesday was because Dre's got a stream Mondays. His little petty time, you know, Mondays, his first time doing it, and I gave him the Monday streams. I said, you know what, you can have that because I ain't doing much on Mondays, no way. Because
Mm.
He needed that space. So I was willing to do this like every other Tuesday. So that's how this is going to be. And this will be out of circulation in the
That work is a
in the summer. So
You don't want too
yeah.
much consumption. You don't want the oversaturate shit.
Yeah.
Everybody has their slots, so everybody plays their position right in this, which is understandable. That's a military thing. Unfortunately, some people have been in the military, so they can't understand that concept. So this shit's gonna fly over their heads like mortar shells.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But, by the way, you got your technical things sorted out yet?
Oh, it's good. It's just what it was. It's just like, when you get a new pair of things, it just happens. So I'll get
Look,
some
great.
better
We got
quality ones in the future. But yeah, that's just like on live streams and stuff like that. You try to get good with it over time.
mm,
It's transitioning from I would say, well, I always been a content creator, but as a panelist for 2 years ago,
mm,
it's not easy when you're doing this by yourself, but it's understandable because they take the risk. So when I look at
yeah,
my content, I say, you know what? I had to make some adjustments. And
mm,
that's one of the things I did last year. So last year it was a comeback year. This year it's more like I'm focusing on it and get the parts that I need with my content. Yeah, the screenshots, that's for those individuals that talk about the same old stuff, same old rhetoric, to teach the younger
mm.
generation, like, don't fall in for that trap. And then you hear comment sections like that. Just be mindful of dudes like that. But you got guys promote that and have bigger rooms. And the reason being is the topic, man. It's eye jarring. See, they ain't
By
gonna
the
like
way,
my shit. It's just what it is.
one question. What the hell is windmilling? This is the first time I've heard you use that term, but I don't exactly know what that means.
It means like, say if you when we say the term windmilling, we use it like when people want to cheerlead for another person. That's what we say,
Uh,
like in live stream terms. And I think Dre used that a lot. Yeah, that's a form of windmilling. Like what the man did with he was on the panel one time. It was a white boy cheering him on, and I bounced his ass off the panel. This was last year. I don't think you remember, and I think Information Man said something in the chat. I wasn't paying attention. I was gonna bounce him off anyway. He was talking about the Jewish people and things like that doing this and saying they're
uh,
oppressing us and all that. Yeah, he brought that
you
shit on my
understand
channel, and I
some people are
bounced him
just
off the panel. Yeah, I bounced him off the panel, and I was the first one that did that. I didn't want to end up like what's his name, Fantastic, and them dudes. And those guys from that so-called SYSBM community, the SKCs and them. Yeah, I didn't want to be like them, causing problems. And then that Raganoff character from Canada, he's a white dude that cussed out BGS. I saw that on Art's channel. And see, they was trying to do what I did. Nah, you should have kicked him off before he was going to talk all that rhetoric, because you could have vetted him. But see, the problem is they're kicked out by the mainstream manosphere, what you call white manosphere. They coming in their channels. I saw this last year before they was cracking down. So yeah, man, like I had to be careful who I had on because last year was a learning experience. This year, I'm just not going to tolerate it because I got to put my foot down on certain things because you got to be careful who you let on and things like that. Only's doing it too, but his is a combination of everybody. And I told him, just do you, man. Like, that's cool because that's a new thing. People have their own format. So me, I ain't got no issue. I've learned to accept it because my audience is what it is. People going to be who they are. It is what it is. But yeah, man. Yeah, because when I look at this shit, I just like, look, I do the content, move on. Yes, I narrate the
mm,
news. I think Ronan was saying, yeah, I call things up for a specific reason because you talk about this stuff. Why don't you apply it in what you'll say real life realistically? And they can't do it because what I've noticed, they sound defeated. Yes. And the thing is they didn't grow up like that. And then you got to call those individuals out. That's what I do. But yeah, I talk about other things. I talk about politics, sports, and this Ukraine stuff. I think the advisors are gonna go in depth on Dre's gonna go in depth on that next Monday. He's gonna make that a topic matter, but he does different slides. I say I like his stuff. Now, me, I could have done that. I said, you know what? No, I talk about that without the other stuff. I just put it in context.
mm.
But I use those screenshots to tell people, look, if you like that type of content, you're gonna get talked about. That's just what it is. But I think I want to create something similar to that. Since I can't show a lot of screenshots, I said, you know what? Talking about them is easy. But I'm just gonna go for the title they videos, and I want to explain something in the chat room. Okay, we're gonna use the panel, right? Just
Right.
look at the numbers in the chat room. Who's viewing that shit, and then you be like, and then you could look, and then I'll put mines if I have a stream, right, or a replay, or a live
Right.
stream or something like that. I can do that and show you the difference, what they're not paying attention to. I can do something like that, a testimony. And I think Dre gave me an idea. He gave me an idea about it. I said, you know what? I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna start doing that, and I'll be like, that's gonna be the wave. But the Thursday drills, that's kind of like what Sunday Madness is. It's like free for all. You talk about everything. Like I see in these certain spaces that people be in, and they talk about their various topics. So I get what people do that, and then I'm learning from the host how they handle people in the chat and panels and stuff. So yeah, see, I'm working my little magic right now. So even now in this week, and to me, the week is kind of good. It's kind of good on here on YouTube. It ain't nothing. I know people gonna forget about it long term, but that's just what it is. But I had to address that. So yeah, because earlier tonight I had to call it out, man. Because when I did that stream, man, I saw a stream that I did not like. I said, man, how can you be this? You ain't even pro black. I'm like, stop it, bro. But I get it. I get it.
You know, there's a reason why you just got to give people the rope or give them the shovel. Just let them hang themselves and dig themselves into a deep hole, respectively.
Yeah, that's what I do all the time. And I just listen and things like that. But man, I should have thought about that screenshot shit 2 years ago if I want to do content like that and just look at and observe in these spaces which I'll be talking about. Because I'm thinking about the old days when YouTube was something. Yeah. And just listen to the conversation in the chat room. Because I'll be in there. And then I said to myself, and I'm glad I showed that screenshot of myself too, because I'm not gonna be biased. I'm gonna say, you know what? When I do emojis like that, I'm like, man, I'm out of here, man. I'm just gonna skywatch it because they ain't saying nothing in the chat. But the panels is interesting. I wish I had a clip y'all can listen to, because if I did that and just have a small clip and listen to what they're saying, you'd be like, man, come on, bro, this shit. And that's why I see on YouTube. And I think Real Deal Financial said this yesterday. I said, well, my content's different than everybody else. I mean, if you watch my older stuff and what I was trying to do.
Wait. Right there. You don't need to say that your content is different. Let your content do all the talking on that.
Oh yeah. I've let it done the content, but I was telling them if they watched
let the content speak for itself. I mean, let it speak for itself. Let your work
it's speaking for itself. But I'm just saying I have to rest. And the reason why I'm doing it, I'll tell them like, look, if they watch my old stuff from pre-records, I've been doing that. But when I came back last year, it was different. I added a microphone later on, and I'm glad I did that texture. And I told somebody, look, when I did that shit, that was progression. That took time. See, at first I didn't want to adapt to that because I used to be on panels with a cell phone 2 years ago. Quasi Skip and the Brain Trust. And if y'all listen to some of the old stuff about the Sapio stuff, the open chats or panels that Complex had, I was on a fucking cell phone. I tell people all the time, I know the struggles. But once I started upgrading my sound and actually doing live streams, I have to take this shit kind of serious in a way because people gonna come through and listen, and you get different audiences and things like that. My female ratio is different now. It used to be 5%. Now it's up. Well, because I'm talking about certain things and certain people that I mess with, and I guess that's part of it, and that's a good thing because I'm not gonna get that much anyway. Because I look at the audience what they want and things like that. Now, when I talk about the Wednesday streams where I My actual content, yeah, it speaks for itself. Yeah, it does. And I think Cerulean comes through, gets some input, and I asked him for a suggestion. It works. And these open discussions is basically
Yep.
conversations. That's all they are, you know. We should be
Yeah,
having, but I think Ronan said something about the man stuff. We said that off air, and we said, yeah. And I try to tell Ronan the hard part is a lot of people don't want those conversations. I mean, it depends on certain individuals. If he came
well,
through, he would
that
tell you.
individual in particular, I remember he came on to. Wait, what's your view on Officer Charles? First of all, Officer Faulkner. What's your view on him?
To me, when I first subscribed to him at first, and 2 years ago, he was decent. I didn't know who he was when I watched BGS's old stuff, and he was on the Black
Mhm.
Pill stuff, and then he talked about other things besides that. He's a well-rounded content creator. The next year, when I subscribed to him, he had some good stuff. But when I saw that guy with the beret, I know he was close to this guy, Saru. And that's one of the first time I've seen that guy's name like for a while. Now I've seen his face before years ago. I didn't know what his name
Dr. Gray.
was. I didn't know what his
Really?
name was. Yeah, at the time. I didn't know his name was that or something else because he had a beret at the one time over at Angry
Yeah.
Man's years ago with the Black Order. See, I keep
Yeah.
forgetting because I've seen the
Big Brother
face
to it.
before. I've seen the face before years ago, but I didn't get into it like that. And then
Yeah, bro.
that was part of that
They
older
have
Mansfield
to be
1.0, like
close.
things like that.
Understand that they are. I mean, Gray and Faulkner are the B very names from the Gray Faulkner Initiative, which is still an important initiative right there.
Yeah.
They have gone two men from opposite branches of the military who've gone back and forth and have talked about their experiences, their communities, and and both are from the same generation. Let's not forget that both of us we're all millennials here, older millennials, who've thought long and hard about what is needed to save black men, the future generations of black men. And this initiative has fallen on deaf ears many times, but I've looked into it. I'm thinking I still go over it several times, a few times, and realize that there's something I can learn from there, something that I can use and apply.
Yeah, I think when
In
I
my own situation.
first saw his channel, like it was several streams, but when I saw that guy, he was had an argument with Saru, and I think they was arguing about the initiative, and I think it was like an update from the year before, and he said something about Saru, and he said, "I love you," like in the argument. He said, "Dude, like."
I love
And
you, but I gotta.
I was at a restaurant, right? And then I was listening to him. I was about to go to the store that day, and I heard him talk, but they had arguments like that in the off air conversation what Saruian told me. And then I didn't see him again until I would say Dre's stream. The
Without
first
my
time I
doubt.
met Dre, um, actually when I first met Dre, it was over at Kuda's stuff, but I've seen him before too on Charles' stuff with the plane tickets. And I saw that avatar. I was like, who's this guy that
Well,
Charles talked to? Because but I didn't know Charles was
Dre
cool with him. But I'm just going to explain to you why I thought of him as his content because those were his boys. And my assumption was I saw him with the beret, so that's the ruling he mentioned. But the other guy on the panel said I didn't know who he was at the time. But here's the thing, though: when I saw those individuals cool with Charles on the panel, he had a nice panel back in 2021 in the beginning of around this time. And then I said to myself, I saw the guy with the plane tickets again over at Kudas, and I said, I remember you. I've seen some old streams with BGS, and you was on the panel. He said, yeah, and this I'm talking about DeAndre now. I didn't know he was close to Saruian heavy than Charles, even though Charles they went to different rival high schools, they wrestled together, but he's closer than Saruian than Charles, even though they're all three of them are close, they know each other. And I said to myself, Charles got some good people, and I kind of like Charles's content that whole year. You know what I mean? Because I never had issue with Charles. So when I think of Charles's content, it's needed. A lot of people don't like law enforcement and things like that. And I know when people don't like when they say the white man's military, and that irks Cerulean and Charles is all the time. But yeah, they're very passionate what they believe in. And Dre just don't care. He's just a guy that's more he's realistic, just don't cross him. He's one of them dudes like I don't know why people think, oh, he's a nice guy. No. Dre's just reasonable. You just gotta own up to your part, and that's it. That's how Drake is now.
I have
You
a
know.
lot of respect for Drake. It's just that I don't get a lot of chances to talk with them. But then again, I don't get a lot of opportunity to interact with y'all like that. So
Yeah,
me.
Dre's a busy man. Man, that guy's got his business. He's got
So
two
yeah,
grandkids. Um, he's helping other people in his circle, and I appreciate him for that. Like, he don't pester me as much. Anytime he asks me for a conversation, I listen, and that's it. We used to do that shit last year over at Cooters. We cool, had no issues with him. We have different perspectives, and he asked me what I think about certain things. Same thing, I listen. And if the conversation is good or build, he's always gonna come through. But they keep
it's like
assuming that he has a link to Cerulean. No, Cerulean always be watching the clouds. What he does, he pops out whenever. You know what I mean? I don't tell him what to do. Same with Dre. He don't tell him what to do. He's a grown man. If you want to find Cerulean, hey, it's whatever. And I think he's gonna have a thing on Teapot's channel. I will say tomorrow. I think 9:30 Eastern. I got that posted in my
I'm very selective
community tab.
who I check on for a good reason, and you understand that, right?
Yeah.
Nothing against anybody. It's just that there's certain channels I do not even want to interact because I don't know what they're about. I'm very critical of what they could be, because you can't be sure about a lot of things. You can't be sure. Like some people can be very deceptive and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's something about this. No, like in the back, you look at certain channels, like you listen to them initially, like in the back of your mind, you know how like people say "fuck your feelings." Like no. Emotions is one thing, but those instinctual senses you get, like in the back of your mind, you like your instincts tell you, oh, something's up with certain individuals, or something about this doesn't feel right or sound right, or doesn't look right. That's how it is for me sometimes. So I have to be careful what I'm watching, what I'm consuming, because when I was younger, I've had some bad experiences with listening to certain things and realizing, oh, okay, this is what it was really about. My critical thinking skills weren't up there because I was too receptive. So I took the time to look at these things and be like, okay, this is what they're about. And that's when you realize, you were misled or deceived. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Hello?
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. Because a lot of people, they be careful who they listen to all the time. I'm the same way, but me, when I go to these different channels, I just observe what they're talking about. I'm like, it's the same stuff I hear all the time. But even though my content is very different than everybody else, and I tell them like, it speaks for itself. But people reference my old self. I tell them at that time I was on something else. I was in a community at the point, and it made sense online, but offline I was talking like that too in barbershops. And I'll never forget the days that we had those conversations. I think I told this to Gino on his channel. I said those days are what they used to be, like I remember. But now it's like everything's online, decent, everything you fast forward. See, I wasn't part of Google Hangouts. Thank God I wasn't a part of that. And I think BGS discovered StreamYards or Shar, whoever, they had those links at the time. So I look at people who they're familiar with and things like that. Yeah, when I saw Charles's channel, it's different. It ain't like everybody else. I mean, he talks about it, but he kinds to try to move away from because get into politics more. That's one thing I like about his channel. He talks about that a little bit. Then he breaks it down in fragments in situational living and things like that. As an officer too, especially in the area he's from, that's a lot of risk. You're actually showing people what's what, and
I
it's
mean, I've
just
had
like it's just what it is. And I think that channel kind of
but
grew on me last year, and I support it even more. Even though I'm a mod over there, but still, he's got a good channel. I ain't got no issues with what you call what Charles is saying, because Charles is gonna be Charles. I mean, he's always gonna be respected over here, regardless. Even though he's cool with Dre and Saroon, but I've always given him respect in the beginning. So
that's my
yeah,
brother from another mother and father. Understand that? That
yeah,
dude's like, because
yeah.
he and I
Charles is a whole nother specimen, man. Like, it's just what it
look
is.
at it like Mr. Z. If you ever listen to his shit,
I don't really listen to him this much, but I've listened to him enough on panels. But you know, he always have a unique mindset. Not a fan of him though, but I've seen him. I've been on panels with him though, but he has some good points. I mean, I wish he would just expand his knowledge. That was my issues with him. I wish he just. You don't have to stay in it. Like, do what I would have done. I would say, like, look, just challenge him on shit. Just be a little bit contrarian, but not too much. But you know, I try to tell him, like, dude, you got the knowledge. I mean, if you're in those fields, I mean, there you are. But I see him a lot on Charles. But yeah, I think I saw a little stream that Charles posted that he shared. He was talking about the issues and the stuff they was talking about over there. But you know, I don't entertain that, but I understand where they was coming from. So that's a whole
I mean,
nother thing right there. So yeah.
it's not trivial what we all talk about. It's just that the contents of some of us is important. It's related to certain issues within our respective within those respective communities. I mean, he's a younger. He's a little bit younger than most of us. He's in his mid 30s.
He's born in
But
I believe he said
87,
86. Yeah, he's 2 years older than I am. So we right around that quadrant.
87,
Yeah, yeah. I was born in 88.
88.
See, he's 2 years older than I am. So it's like I have a cousin around his age, so I know his type. What they think similar to we do. The difference is I'm more far ahead how they think about the younger generation. But the younger generation, some of them are decent. I met some on here that's decent than Hammer and them other guys. I'm like, y'all need to stay off this shit long term. When I was their age, I had books and I had a balance of a little bit of technology. Not as much. I didn't let this shit control me. I can leave this shit for like eons and come right back and get views. And I tell people that all the time. That's how YouTube is in general. It's not just but it's YouTube general and the same things because you always gonna have new younger people. And I think BJ said is you can't force people to like you. And I agree with BJ right there. When I first started live streaming last year, that was very true. Until I upgraded certain sounds, it works. But if people don't have content and they have those big followers in chat rooms, oh, they're gonna come to your channel. And I've noticed that last year. I said, wait a minute. Even that one fucker stream I did with the Petty Moan Sunday Madness #2, that was a classic. Yeah, I had the man and everything. Yeah, I had Grinch. I mean, that was one time.
Individual to stay away
Jay
because I
Sean.
remember
Yeah.
Charles. We had him on Charles's, right, and Bruce Almighty and I, we have to get this, remove this individual because he's just here to antagonize. And one of us, some people don't see what. I guess it's because Ronan would understand where I'm coming from because, like myself, he understands because we understand things about mental health and psychology and whatnot.
Yeah.
Those in the military who understand psyops would understand certain individuals understand how to push certain buttons just to get people riled up. And I was like, get this individual out of here because this is the kind of stuff that is meant to antagonize. And as far as the books thing you were talking about, consider yourself fortunate because I myself, around the same, I'm exactly 5 months younger than Charles. And I came from the third world. We did not get internet until 2001. And so everything was by books. So you had to go to your high school library. In fact, I remember during and this is in the late 90s. I remember when I was in high school, my teachers was telling their classes, telling the students, don't expect us to write everything on the chalkboard. You guys got to go to the library, do your research, and take notes. You cannot expect us to just simply spoon feed you this information as if you were infants in high chairs. I made it a point just every time, especially where I come from. High school is no joke. If you didn't pass, you go up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. You know what it is. I don't have to explain what that is. You go up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, and you're taking on shit, not water. You're taking on shit. So I guess some people have to learn the hard way on that one. So yeah, knowledge is important. And I'm glad I had a lot of books people taught me, but there were certain books I didn't pick up until later because it's like martial arts. They say it's like you will pick up certain piece of knowledge is when you're ready, when you're
Yeah.
receptive. I was not, in my case, I did not have the maturity or the comprehension. I was not in the right frame of mind to learn certain things. So I didn't pick up like books like The Prince until like I was like in my mid-20s. But even then, it didn't really sink in until later on in life. Sometimes you have to learn those things now because they save you up for later.
Yeah, there's certain books I've read. I've read a lot, and then the ones I read in my 20s, I would say coming through YouTube on this particular channel, the old channel, I was doing that offline as well. And the way he was putting them online, I've seen them a lot over the years. And the good thing about me reading back then, I was doing that type of content, and then after that, it was just a whole nother story. So when I did that shit, I mean, long term, it worked. So then I learned the newer stuff now, and especially politics. When I got older, it's a little different because the more I learned about the inconsistencies in people, and I think me and Sarun kind of grow into that. And I think him going to the Horn of Africa, that Dre was saying, well, he's looking at it from that perspective. Every time when people go over there, they look at things differently in a bird's eye view. And I'm glad he said that on the stream. He said, that's why him and Dre is different than everybody in the space because they know each other. And once you know each other in the Navy, you know the whole crew. And we said it's all fair. And Ronan said the same thing. He said something last month about the Marines. It's just like it said it was, but they had this fake helicopter they use in the water. You can survive that. They show you techniques how to survive a lot of things. He said the Marines just basically they go where the bullets is firing. And then the Navy, I think Dre said, we put them on a fucking leash. And the reason he's saying that, and on the 5 level, he said something off air. He said they're on a leash because they control what the Marines does. Sometimes they actually like similar branches, but the problem is Navy can't deal with the field thing since they're like more like privateers and almost like what you'll say like a pirate. But technically, a drunken Navy is a no-no. I think Ronan said it best. He said he drank like a fish. That's a term, means binge drinking. That's what we use in America. We use like drinking like a fish. That means
Drink
binge
like
drinking. Yeah, that means binge drinking. In case y'all folks don't know, I heard they said that with my uncle, but a lot of people don't know. Like, yeah, a drunken sailor, period. No matter if he's naval, any naval guy, that's just how they are. That goes back to 17th centuries and beyond. Like, that's always been that way. But the Marines,
ho, ho, in a barrel of rum, 16 men on the dead man's chest.
yeah,
There was a reason
and then,
them pirates saying stuff like that.
yeah, in those shanties they be singing for years. But who's another one? What did Ronan say? A sober Marine. I think John just said this yesterday. He said, yeah, a sober Marine is dangerous than anyone else because I think you can't challenge a sober Marine. He said the reason being because they train to kill regardless. So
They're
of
waiting
course,
First of all, people forget that the Marines are branched off from the Navy, just as the Coast Guard are branched off from the Navy. The U.S.
yeah,
Air Force is branched off from the United States Army.
yeah,
So the oldest rivalry is between the Army and the Navy.
yeah.
But people forget, and this is not just in the U.S. I mean, look at Japan. The Japanese Navy, prior to World War II, the Japanese Navy and the Japanese Army, they hate each other's guts. But as far as the armed forces go, if you want to see the biggest example of the rivalry between the Navy and the U.S. Army, and Navy, would be two men during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Admiral Ernest King, and General Douglas MacArthur.
Yeah.
Two men who could not stand being in the same goddamn room. It's like wait, by the way, you ever listen to metal?
I listen to some metal sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. Are you familiar with the group Metallica?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that group. Yeah.
Okay. James Hetfield, the lead singer James Hetfield, and the drummer Lars Ulrich. Yes, his name is pronounced Lars Ulrich. He's Danish. On stage, they're cool. Off stage, that's a different story. Or if it were like, say, anybody who's an old head who's ever listened to the Eagles, there have been a few occasions where the members, they would perform on stage, backstage, it'd be a Pier 6 brawl. Wait, have you ever heard the term Pier 6 brawl?
I've heard of the term. I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a Pier 6 brawl. You see, I remember there's like anybody who's ever listened, whose parents ever listened to the Stones, they'll tell you that there's a reason why Mick Jagger and Keith Richardson usually keep their distance from each other. Ronnie Woods would have to be like the mediator between those two. So, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, when I was looking at he was talking about those branches, I was like, yeah, they're different because of different time periods in war, politics behind it. But the Marines, they've always stuck by the Navy when they hung out together. I think Ronan was
Well,
saying certain things. I'm talking about the US ours in general, but when
yeah,
Dre was telling me about them fleets, man, I said, damn, Dre, I didn't know they had that many fleets. He said, yeah, man, like different shits, different territories. I was like, oh wow, just like I thought. Just like I thought about these branches years ago, I almost got recruited by one, but I chose the sports route. I didn't get a chance to because military runs in my family quite as well. And I think Ron said, hey, where you get all this knowledge from? Well, when you hang around with certain friends and families that know the stuff, I don't go in depth on their little secrets. Well, some of it's public knowledge anyway, because what you see in Ukraine, that ain't nothing new because the internet don't ruin everything. Now, the ones off the grid, they got to hide even more because they got to hire a bunch of hackers protecting their shit with their security clearance. But that's a whole nother story on that on a different day. Why it's like that. But as strong as a military, I would say us in general, he said the difference between the white and black. Now, the white military, I think Ronan told me very interesting. He said he don't trust them motherfuckers because Quiet's kept people tired of that shit. But the black military men, like he said, the difference is there is some black unity, and I agree with him. When I met one when I used to work 2 years ago in the dealership, and I was serving them right every branch, there was some unity in each branch that's black, and I never understood that. But then I know why. Yeah, because the white boys, how they treated them, and it still goes on today. They don't show you that on the news. They act like they're together, but really, nah, they do some suspect shit and things like that, especially with the
um,
women and all that. Yeah, and every
I,
time when Charles tells those stories, and I think Dre and Serene tells those stories, I kind of appreciate it and learn that because he said if you ever want to go or if you decide to do it or a career or something, just be mindful that shit goes on overseas. Because America don't tell us a damn thing. It's just like if you travel, you'll see that stuff. But the thing is, it's not bad. There's pros and cons everywhere. So me learning at this age, knowing there's pros and cons everywhere, I said, damn, it's just like back home a little. He said, yeah, and then I found out that Japan gets snow in certain areas. And Drake told me, he said, yeah, man, they
yeah,
ain't gonna show
if you
you the
go up to like,
actual the landmass. And I asked this woman, she's from Russia originally, but she lived in France. She was a doctor over at Emory. She told me, and I asked the question. I said, "What's the weather like over there?" She said, similar. This is when she was living over here. And she, the only difference is they have that degrees is different, like the Celsius thing with the K and all that.
how'd you
We
go?
got the Fahrenheit. Yeah, the temperature. She said it's pretty similar. She said, just think of it like this. Say if you have a hot summer in different terrains, you have to look at it like that. I said, oh yeah, they taught me about terrains. Yeah, I keep forgetting because the older you get, you'll forget all that stuff when you learn when you're younger. But if you travel, you forget certain land and
Well,
water mass is different. Yeah, it's a little
I
different.
mean, in my case, I mean, I had a decent education, but it wasn't. But it's like, what was it? Mark Twain said it best. I don't let my schooling get in the way of my education. So even though what I learned in school, fortunate for me, growing up in Eritrea when we watched state-run TV, or when I was growing up in the Middle East when I was watching state-run TV over there was always these science programs they would show, whether it was Nat Geo in the case of Eritrea, or in the Middle East when it was like RTL, which is a German channel, but they would have those programs either dubbed in English or in they were the German programs dubbed either in English or in Arabic, whether it was about science or talking about geography and such. And it just reinforced what I learned in class, and it made me even want to learn even more because it was cool to watch. I mean, that's why even as a kid, I was a big fan. And I'll admit, I'm a mark for Sir David Attenborough when he talks about botany and zoology because I learned new things, and I'm always open to watching. That's when I watch Animal Planet. That's like or if I watch Nat Geo, it's like a godsend. Discovery, not as much as before, because after I learned it was owned by, Rupert Murdoch and everything. But if you have the Disney Channel, you can watch Nat Geo. But there are also some, like, if you got HBO, you can also watch certain science and technology stuff. That's why Neil deGrasse Tyson and Carl Sagan have always been influential on my part. Let me ask you something, Sir O.
Yeah, right away.
As a little, you familiar with something with a company called the Children's Television Network?
I'm not familiar, but I've heard the name. So
Creators of Sesame Street.
yeah, I heard of Creative Sesame Street, like things like
Well,
that. Yeah.
you ever watch the show? I don't know. Maybe this is ahead of your time, but those of us who are a little bit older, especially because we grew up in the shadows of the Gen Xers. I used to watch the Electric Company.
Electric
A lot of people
Company.
forget.
I'm familiar
That was
with
a show
that
about
name.
learning how to read. It was from the 70s.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of '70s shows were good back in the day. I think my dad is familiar with it. It's a lot of old shows I've seen. I've seen older shows that he used to watch as cartoons, like the Andy Griffith Show. I grew up as a kid in the '90s, and I was watching some of the stuff that they were saying back then.
Oh, you
Pretty
missed it. Oh, right.
telling.
You like 80s. You missed the 80s, man. You missed out. You missed out. The
Yeah,
80s
I
was
missed
some.
out the early '80s. I would say, well, not '89 because I know a little bit, not much. I'll say
Too
about
younger.
like one. Yeah, I'll say like
But anyway,
90.
the reason I bring that up.
I'll say about 90 from early 2000. I didn't really miss out much because the '90s was a different type of time. What's going on, Absalon? Salute. And I was looking at certain cartoons then. No, '90s had the good cartoons, but the old cartoons they replay with the Andy Griffiths, what I used to watch, I was like, God damn, this is a whole nother field. But and I don't know why they was playing it back in our time. And I said, oh, okay, so they used certain episodes. And back then, my dad remembers those episodes when they came out years ago when he was younger. And he said,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
man,
point
it's yeah.
the point was like in the 80s. Besides those two shows, there were two other shows I remember watching as a kid. One was called 3-2-1 Contact.
Mm-hmm.
That was for for preteens and older. It was a science-based program that they ran in the 80s. And then from the 80s into the early 90s, there was another show called Square One TV by the same people, Children's Television Network. What's that? Children's Television Workshop, they're called.
Yeah.
CTW produced something, like I said, they produced 3-2-1 Contact. That was about science. That ran for a few years. But around the same time, they also put out a show called Square One TV, which was about math. And they always had some interesting segments to make people just to challenge kids to learn about math and whatnot. I mean, they had like certain segments that were like based on certain parodies. Like, for example, there was one thing they had where it was like based on the video game Pac-Man. Only the character was called Math Man. And he would just go around all over. It had the same format as the Pac-Man and video game on the arcade. But, it was about challenges about what to consume. Would he eat certain things based on whatever the assignment was?
Oh yeah,
say like
those cartoons that y'all probably watch. I mean, yeah, they were very educational. I think the '90s was too. I used to watch shows like in the '90s. What's the show I used to like as a kid? It was Doug Funny. It was some Nickelodeon shows, and then Hey Arnold was another
Doug.
one. Yeah,
Doug.
yeah,
I remember that.
yeah.
But Nickelodeon. But we never watched Cartoon Network. That was the biggest
I
rivalry
always
at that
watched
time.
Cartoon Network. That was years ago for me. But even though when I was like in my teens and stuff, but they had my favorite cartoons. They had Johnny Bravo, of course. They had a lot that I grew up
Oh, don't get me
watching.
started with Johnny Bravo. I mean, there was
Yeah,
was it my younger brother got hit with a lot of Johnny Bravo references because of his chin.
yeah.
But but
There's a lot
as
of it
far as
was a lot of
those of
cartoons.
us grew up in,
Space Ghost, another one. Yeah,
I remember there was like shows we had like cartoons like Mask, Centurion, Visionary. What else? In the 90s, you guys had a show called Action Man. I remember. But at the end
yeah,
of the show, there was always something they were teaching. Either it was like based on the show itself. Either they had some common sense lessons, on life or on science or whatnot, depended on the show and the nature of that cartoon. There was always that one segment. Well, Charles, he talks about his favorite shit series was Thundercats. Mine was Silverhawks. And Silverhawks, at the end, they had a certain segment at the end where one of the characters, a copper kid, would get into a simulation. And Bluegrass would test him on his knowledge on astronomy. So this show, although it was action, was trying to get kids to learn about astronomy, astrophysics, about understanding the stars, star constellations, planetary science, and whatnot. Imagine what a lot of these shows did, inspired a lot of kids to go into things like that. Just like a show like Centurion probably inspired a lot of kids to want to go into STEM. Or a show like Mask, we got a lot of kids intrigued about cars, and about weaponry, and about military science in some cases. G.I. Joe was the same way. So it intrigues people, So that you find, or like a lot of us in the 80s, we were intrigued by 80s style and 90s style of Japan anime as well. You know what I'm saying? So it inspired a lot of us to be independent thinkers. But what I also realized is you got to understand, some of us who come from certain parts of the world where it's dangerous to be an independent thinker. And it's dangerous to have certain conversations in a barbershop, so to speak. So that's why we always talk about sports, because that's like one of the safest things you can talk about. You even think about politics. It's dangerous because you never know. Somebody could be an informant, or somebody might be setting you up.
Yeah. I mean, politics, when we talked about it in the barbershop, we keep it like I would say, like in this country, we keep it basic. They don't teach you the extremes on beliefs. Like what I do with those Wednesday streams of exile, I told us earlier, the reason I do it is because they don't explain in detail. Now, in this country, we like to sell misinformation on both sides, the right and left. I don't buy into that paradigm. That's what you hear in black barbershops. Now, white barbershops, they do try to be careful and tiptoe. That ain't us. I mean, what we do is we explain our problems, our personal issues, like you see in these spaces. But here's the thing. We try to find solutions to it. We do get stuck on the right and left and arguments. Yes, the women. And the reason I don't talk about feminism as much, it's already laid out what they're about. It's just I don't acknowledge them. I just let them hang themselves because I already know what they're going to say before they're going to say it. And it's no need to argue with them for hours because that's what they want. Because one thing about women I've noticed each year, even years ago, I'm like, it's the same old stuff, but I'm not mad. I expect them to do that because it took me a while to get that at this age. And especially in my 20s, I didn't understand at the time, because when I was dating in my early 20s. But once I got to in my 30s, that shit doesn't bother me as much because I understand what they're going to do anyway because it's a habit. Because since I got a sister as a sibling, a female, you learn a lot from them in the younger generation because the women, her generation is very different than the ones I'm used to because the stuff they watch on television is very telling, because salons is similar to barbershops, but it ain't the same. See, when men talk, we talk about a lot of things, especially black men in particular. We can't really say much in the country because we got to think through the barbershops and things like that.
There's certain things you cannot talk about. Philosophy, thinkers, because being an independent thinker can get you killed in some places concerned, especially when when conformity is the norm. When we're all told to keep our heads down and toe the fucking line, keep our heads down and don't try to stand out. It's like that old Japanese saying. No, it's like.
Yeah, that's those totalitarian societies you're talking about.
Authoritarian in some places. Some of us come from authoritarian, totalitarian. So, or places where you've had absolute monarchies and they don't have that. So free thinkers. We've had free thinkers. It's just that like a lot of them were forced into exile.
Oh yeah.
You either
I'll give you an example. Julius Assange, he's modern. That's modern. Yeah. He tried to bounce back and forth information. Yeah.
You ever seen the movie? There was like a biopic of him with Benedict Cumberbatch portraying him.
Yeah, I seen clips of that. Yeah.
I don't know.
They try to
Assange himself, I'm a little questionable about him. There's still a lot of, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I
something
mean
about there's
it's
certain
just the
things I
inform
don't like, but I understand where he's coming from.
yeah.
But the problem at the same time is like certain people. This is why I gotta be thankful that I watched this documentary called "I'm Not Your Negro." It's the written words of James Baldwin, narrated by Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
And in the end, like there are certain. I remember, like in the final 30 minutes, you realize Baldwin first saw a lot of this. Foresaw a lot of the things that we're going through these days. Like he's understood, like some people are just not ready for what it needs to be. Some people are not ready to understand or do not have the tools, or they've been in such arrested development they cannot comprehend some of the information they acquire. Just like they say, there's nothing more dangerous in this world than a fool with a cause,
Or should I say,
or a
yeah,
misinformed fool.
what they say, a rebel without a cause. I hear sayings like that. Yeah, it's a lot, you know. And I think when I
Or
brought up,
James Baldwin also said, "Nothing more dangerous in this world than the most dangerous person in a society is someone who has absolutely nothing to lose."
yeah,
Those are your the ostracized, the marginalized, the
yeah,
people
those are the
who've been down.
ones. Yeah,
Those
those,
people are your potential fifth columnists, as they're called. But
yeah,
then again, you have both fifth columnists on both sides. What I mean, just like in America, you have what is it? The four pillars of society: justice,
yeah,
unity, liberty, equality. The
yeah.
fifth column
Well, in
compromises that.
America, like when you got people like that, they would call them anarchists, even though people deem that's the left. No, it's no monopoly of no left and right because an anarchist, he wants to overthrow, but here's the hypocrisy of them. They end up being like countries like Putin, which you'll say like he's a dynamic leader. Well, when you say totalitarian countries, well, Russia's one of them. A fascist country would be like I mentioned this in part two. I said yes, I mentioned Spain, yes, I mentioned Italy and Germany, and I'm glad Soren broke it down the right way. And I saw the replay of that. I said, you know what? That right there, he's right. And this is why I like about his input of looking at it from not just the military, but look at the economics and the money aspects behind it. Because a lot of those countries and where you from is designed that way, you know, over time. So we already know who led what. And us as Americans, yeah, we be involved in those countries. We're guilty of it. But here's the thing,
Let's
and I
not
said
forget
this
some
off
of the
air, we
dictatorships.
don't be labeled as the bad guys. See, we always portrayed as the heroes. That's the problem. No, we're just as bad as anybody else because we always dealt uh situation with terrorists, no matter what countries we dealt with. We dealt with Iran years ago, like their old leader.
The
Not
Shah,
the one, not the Khomeinis and them people. No, we dealt with the guys that had
not
the
the
Persian generation in the 70s. I forget his name that used to rule in Iran. That was
yeah,
back in the
the
day.
Shah.
Yeah,
He was
Iran.
called
Yeah,
their
yeah,
kings are called the Shah.
yeah. It was them. Same with Iraq. Same with all those areas, and you name it. It's just the funny thing is we go against the ones that are radical, but to me, that's all
Yeah, but
diverse
let's
as
not
a
forget, the
distraction.
U.S.
So
did associate in the Cold War. There are two countries, both are communist, that the U.S. was associated with. Do you know who those were?
yeah.
Who are they?
Which countries you're talking about?
I said during the Cold War, there were two countries that were communist that the United States was in bed with
Oh yeah,
during the
yeah,
Cold War.
yeah, yeah.
Do you know who they are? It's okay to say no if you don't. There's no shame in it. You learn something new.
Nah, it's just I know I just can't think of the top of my head because it's been a while. Because I know they was cool with certain countries. I know they was
One,
against Soviet Union.
no. One that was against the Soviet Union despite itself being communist was Yugoslavia.
Yeah,
Joseph
Yugoslavia.
aka Tito, he did not want to take orders from he did not take orders from what's his name, Stalin, because he looked at Stalin and was like, "You may have a Russian last name, but you're not one of us. I may be
Yeah.
Slavic, but I'm because he was half Croatian, half Slovenian.
Mm-hmm.
Stalin, who was born Josef Jugashvili, was an ethnic Georgian. He's a Caucasian, so he's not going to take him seriously. And the other country that would still remain communist but became an ally of the West was Somalia. I bet you didn't know that.
Well, Somalia, I did knew that. That one, that's the one I would knew. But it's a lot with the Cold War. I was talking about they was going against Russia. I already know about the Soviet Union because before they call it Russia and things like that. I do know about the Prussian history, and I think me and Sarin talked about this on a panel. Yeah, that was back then. But the problem with that was, I would say, what's the Cuban Missile Crisis? I think Dre brought it up, like with Putin. Yeah, he came in that. Yeah, he had to take that L because that was a payback from the Cold War. So with this thing with Ukraine, I'm not gonna go in depth on it. It's a repeat of 2014 and I will say 2015 because Putin said something like it was supposed to be the end of the world. I already knew that was a lie because at the time he was trying, nuclear talks at the time. But the reason those nukes that you see him hitting, it's not in those areas that the nukes be obtained. It's actually in those regions what you talked about, places that used to be former lands of Yugoslavia, like Kosovo, places like Croatia. He's doing it on purpose to piss certain people off because he knows Ukraine is theirs. But the problem is he's getting, the sanctions is fucking with him. And I said this
We also remember
Sunday, and all that stuff.
When you talk about 2014, his issues with them, he also had other distractions at the same time. Like take Finland and Norway, Scandinavian countries.
Yeah. He had a lot of issues.
His issues. The issues. Hold on, just bear with me. If you might remember, there was throughout the summer of 2015, you had the entire migrant crisis that was going on when you had that huge caravan from Greece of all those people from Syria and other places crossing from the Aegean Sea for Turkey into Greece and then trying to make that land train, trying to get to Western Europe, primarily Germany.
Mm-hmm.
There was a second group. Now, everybody was focused on that, so much so that Austria started taking in some, most of them ended up Germany, but Denmark, the Netherlands, Belgium, they all started closing up their borders for fear of what could happen. Norway, Finland, Sweden, they're separated from Germany by the Baltic Sea. However, they were receiving migrants from that same part of the region. Those migrants trying to get to Germany were from. They were coming in through Russia in the final quarter, in the fourth quarter of 2015.
Yeah, I remember
especially during, especially like in certain places where they have like in the northern, where Norway and Finland have their border. They border Russia in the far north.
Mm-hmm.
That is a heavily guarded. It's not heavily guarded, but it's a heavily monitored border for various reasons. Finland, they have their history of Russia. Norway has its history of Russia, especially with Sweden. And when this shit was happening, the prime ministers of both countries were complaining with Russia about this whole issue, about migrants coming in, especially primarily from Syria as well as Afghanistan. A lot of people don't see how that's connected with a lot of things that are going on. Just like how the issue with Ukraine right now might be it has some interconnection with Belarus.
Oh, it's a combination of that. It's Ukraine, Crimea, like that thing.
And such.
Yeah, but it's really the Crimea issue. That's what stemmed from it. Putin realized when Trump was in office, he was trying to do that deal, and I think even though he lost, but Biden is trying to do the sanctions things. I know what Biden's doing because why they got Nancy Pelosi. I think Dre told me this the other day, like Sunday. He said, why they using her? Like, yeah, she's trying to do the same thing Biden does. Like the leader, like the vice president's supposed to be over there. Well, there's a reason for that, because she may be running for president in the future, competing with guys like Pence, Rand, and Paul, like that, particular in those guys, because they're the last bastions of in politics. But in war, a lot of that shit is a distraction. I think what Putin's trying to do, he's trying to consolidate power. He's desperate because he needs those lands for control. So it's like the Cuban Missile Crisis. I'm glad Dre brought that up. That's part of it too, because he had to take that L and that loss. They lost a lot of assets and territory and weaponry on that. See, China can't do shit. They can't do nothing. See, Japan is thinking for themselves. America ain't got nothing to do with that. I think Dre was over there. He said, no, that guy that's going to rule for Japan, they have a mind of their own. So U.S. is watching, but they're not doing nothing about it, because the problem is they don't want to deal with Russia with those nukes. So they're going to use NATO. So I already know what they're going to do with Putin. They're going to use NATO with the sanctions. The UN is going to be watching, but those other countries surrounding the West, they're struggling. Putin ain't threatened by them. He's threatened by America's military might and things like that. The only issue with us, we have internal problems in each branch. So that's how you defeat. That's how you defeat us. Quiet as kept. You can't defeat us in combat, but you got to defeat us internally, because we got to fight amongst ourselves. That's how they invade and do whatever.
Trolling.
What's going on, Pastor?
Oh, hey, Pastor. Excuse me if I go sideways here for a minute. If I go left here for a minute.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Pastor Dollars here, because I got to do a little Busta Rhymes here, a little Busta Rhymes joke for him. I don't know if he's there. Let me look at his check the live stream. Yeah, Pastor Dollar. I think I'm gonna need a serious blessing, if you will. Just don't tell me the blessing is going to cost me $100,000. Anyway. Cyber warfare, bots. You instigate like a fifth column kind of thing, or a virtual fifth column. This is why I listen to this is why one of my favorite podcasters is a guy named Dan Carlin I've mentioned before. He has a podcast called Common Sense, along with another one called Hardcore History. So he's talked about, like, in the past few years, about the whole issue of partisanism in American politics and in American society. I mean, think about what 9/11 did.
Oh, it changed everything. Yeah.
It united the whole country. I mean, not to use the comedians, but Eddie Griffin was right. He said one thing about this, and as black men, you have to understand this. Before 9/11, you was a nigga.
Oh, of course.
Then, if you remember his special, Dysfunctional Family, where it was set in his hometown of Kansas City, Missouri. He said, before 9/11, I was just a nigga. Now, ever since this shit, I'm an American. But that shit only lasted for 30 days.
No, it lasted. Well,
no, he said it lasted 30 days. But
he said 30 days, but that's not true. Quiet as kept. The average person, no, it lasted. It lasted. I'll say the next year. It ended when Katrina came, and that's when niggas started, not liking each other. No, I remember yesterday, because I'm from the South. Now it's different from everybody, because they remember it. Yeah, it was a thing. That was a military thing, but to civilians, that changed a little bit until Katrina hit. That's when we got divided again. This is where you see all the racism and what you see now. That's why it's hurting us internally, and we're in a post-war.
Kanye said it then.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of black people being divided over shit, look at Kanye West. People would rather have the Kanye West who said George Bush doesn't give a fuck about black people over the Kanye West that said slavery is a choice. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, most people agree with that. Quiet as kept. I mean, at first when he said that, I disagreed, but then when I got older, I kind of agree with him back then, because I look back at myself now. It's very telling, and it's sad because the results, what we look at now. So you can't look at it when he said it at the time. But it's one of those results you got to think to yourself. You'd be like,
In context, I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about?
yeah, at the time. But then I look back at it now. Now I know what he's talking about because, like I try to tell you about the 9/11 thing, that was a distraction as well. Even though I already know who
Mhm.
knocked the towers down and things like that, but I ain't gonna get into that. Me and Dre and
We're not gonna,
what you call Ronan explained it all fair, and it's a yeah, it was some behind that, yeah, because America likes to do that for financial reasons. Well, it's more than that, but it's a
it is what it is.
sacrifice, and
Believe it.
people have died and things like that, but no one cares. Quiet as kept. They
But,
did that back in '94. They did that in '94
but
with those same buildings. So I ain't gonna get
that was
into it
94.
because it's controversial because some people get upset about it when I say that, but I tell them that's the truth. Because if you study what we've done, if you want to put race in, race ain't got nothing to do with it. It's really class. I mean, race is just the construct what we deal with. I mean, back in the 90s, let me tell you something. In the 90s when I was growing up,
Mhm.
black was in. It wasn't like that in the 80s and my dad said, no.
Yeah.
The 90s, it was in. The
Who you
difference
talking to?
was,
Who you
the
talking
difference
to?
was, the
90s, what?
difference was,
Black was this shit. Come on, man. I knew we all
and,
were. We
and,
all tried to emulate you guys. What are you talking about? We were
but
all
the 90s,
emulating y'all
but
back
the
in the 90s.
90s in each era, like I can
Yeah.
remember what DJ Quick was saying. He was saying that, yeah, it has some truth to it. After Pac's death, things kind of, changed left at the tail end. But the early 2000s was something else. Until that nine
Yeah.
11 thing, yeah, that changed a lot. The war on terror, a lot of things changed for law enforcement and the military. It was money driven now, like it's ever been
Think of the
before.
word
Because,
terrorism.
yeah,
Think of the word terrorism, and think of it outside of the U.S. And I gotta thank Jan
what's
Collins
going
for
on,
this because
Toya? The ultimate tutorer. What's going on?
skirt. What did she just say?
That's what she
Skirt.
said.
Whoa. Okay, I don't need to know. We're not gonna go there. Leave it alone. Leave it there. Anyway, take a look at the term terrorism. How open that term has been used. I mean, especially if you live in places where there's oppressive regimes. The word terrorist and terrorism, how been then open to exploitation, and how you can use that to oppress legitimate opposition or to crush voices of dissent. Because the term terror, labeling somebody as a terrorism, they give themselves the legitimacy to be as heavy-handed as they want. I mean, shit. Look what's going on in Ethiopia.
Oh, yeah, it's like that. That's
I
that's
mean, they're
one
calling
example.
certain factions over there
Yeah,
terrorists, and it's by design
yeah.
because they're trying to delegitimize what they are and trying to use legitimacy to use military force.
Well,
You
that's
see this
that's
also or like in Syria, when
yeah.
you had
Syria.
actual
You
Syria.
got Syria. You do got Iran, Iraq. Well, quiet as kept Israel. Well, that's Palestine. That's a whole nother issue on that. But like those people, yeah, that's true. But here's the thing. Yeah, that
Uh,
too. And here's the thing: we train them. That's the fucked up thing about it. Because if you do your research, some of them people come to those countries. We don't send the smart ones back. We send them to these what you call the feds and the CIA and things like that to train them. And
brain.
it's so weird why we keep them, and they always be in the UN and NATO. Terrorism shit to me is a ploy for us technically, but that backfire because you have domestic terrorism with the white folks. See, they lose in the country. They say technically they're not. There's a problem. Nobody trusts them. That's why I see a lot of black soldiers back in the early 2000s. How it all started. And I think Dre told a story about the Marine story with Ronan. He said he came out in 2000. I believe Ronan left. He said it's all fair. He said that's how he got out of the military. And he had certain problems when he left. And we talked extensively off air. And then he said something very telling. I said, wow, okay, I didn't know that. Like you was in the Guantanamo stuff. He said, yeah, in there. I said, well, damn.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was up in there. So he done seen a lot. So he can tell you better than I can. He's the one
You can't
say at
unsee
that
certain
time.
things that you've seen.
Yeah. But at that time,
I've known people
whew,
from worse. I mean, try talking to disabled veterans. I mean,
all
that
the
this is what I mean. Growing up where I grew up, it was not uncommon to see amputees walking around, on crutches because they can't use artificial legs. Those in wheelchairs and everything. That's been normal to me. I mean, I have an uncle who had I'm not going into what exactly his injury was, but just seeing that just made me realize, all right. So I was used to that as a kid, so I was wondering what happened. But when people explained to me, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I mean, I've met people with the severe war injuries. I went to high school with guys who were blinded, and talking to them and just understanding about what happens, like, but understanding that shit just helped me understand what I need to do. But they only told me what I needed to know at that particular time. But understanding that some of that shit and being the empath that I am, understanding that it is what it is.
Well,
What
when I was
happened,
talking to
happened.
Roland, yeah, when I was talking to Ronan last night about that, I said, "Man, I was like, you came at a time when, yeah, he said the 2000s, and he remembered all that stuff." I said, "Yeah," and the military changed a little bit after 9/11, and you see a lot of black guys start going to military more. Yeah, I saw that in my generation, and it started increased afterwards after the Katrina shit. That was back in, '05, '06, and '06. The Navy tried to come to the classroom, I think one of those years too, even after high school. They was trying to recruit at the time. This is Bush, and he thought they was going to bring back the draft. That shit didn't work because there wasn't no money involved. He kept fucking it
It was
all up.
backwards
Yeah.
because they kept
And then,
because remember they would redeploy certain people who should have been discharged.
yeah. And I will say that year from '07, '07 was a good year too, because I graduated, because I was held back first grade because I've been there twice. And that's why my class is what it is. But my original class is '06. They ain't wasn't amounting nothing. Same with '07, not much, because things changed since the pandemic. So people's not really being that successful. So when I
Wait a minute,
look at
you
those
wasn't around
years,
07?
yeah, I graduated in '07 because I was held back in first grade. That's the reason why. Because if I
You know what's
was
going on
held
in
back,
07? You know what's going on in 07 at that
oh, it's a
time?
lot. It was a lot going on. I remember in '07. I remember when music was music back then. I started YouTube on my old channel back in May of '07. Lost it in 2012. I can tell you that in March. That's a whole other stuff. Because when the political stuff, it was something. You can say
This is
what you
when
want in America at that time. A lot of people try to say you can't. Yes, you can. In YouTube, it was the Wild Wild West. If you knew certain people that was on that conspiracy stuff, YouTube didn't even care at that time, because the woman stuff talks, it was minute, but you had to be that dude that had that truth value. And they had groups and everything, how they first started out. Then the next year, it got intense when the stock market and things like that. And then the '08 crash, I remember that. And people was talking about that too. But the next
you're
couple of
forgetting a
years,
couple of
like
things.
'09, I'll
You're
say
forgetting a
like,
couple.
oh, I'll say '09.
Mhm.
And from 2012, that's when things is where they are now, because based off those years that I've been on here for the time being. Well, I'm forgetting '07. It was a lot going on in '07, because it
Okay,
was the election. Because I remember
you
with
had this is
Obama.
around '06. Hold on, by '05, '06, you started seeing the whole gas price go up, where crude
Oh
oil
yeah.
went 50 barrels a dollar. We started out went $50 a barrel, and then it went
Mm-hmm.
100, and everybody was shit. And then and then around '06 going into '07, you had the food crisis. I know because when my man at the time, my man, no, oh, sorry, did I say, like how some say, how brothers say, my man, my man this, my man that, like your
Mm-hmm.
boys. All right,
Yeah.
when my boys at the time, we were just chopping it up, I used to hang out at one of my boys' place at the time. We were chopping it up, watching this shit, and he was explaining to me, because he understood, he had a background in economics, explaining to me like when the food prices were going up, because like things like corn and everything, the prices were going up because of ethanol prices and shit, because they were trying to use that for ethanol and stuff, things like that, and how that was being created. So you had that shit going on. At that time, you also had like major. You were on the verge of a recession just as before the housing crisis bubble. You also had like this is like when wasn't this around the time when they had the Abu Ghraib trials?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember one of the women in that there was only one woman when she testified, all the charges were dropped because she was following orders, and also because supposedly she was pregnant with one of the other co-conspirators. If anybody
Yeah.
knows what I'm talking, so around, but like I said, also this is when Libya was coming out of the cold, coming back, and one of the Lockerbie bombers was released from prison and came home to a hero's welcome because he was dying from the advanced form. And they said they let him go on humanitarian terms, but I guess that was just part of the deal with when they made peace with Libya and ended this isolation. And he was dying from advanced prostate cancer. He would not die for another 6 years. He died like after sometime after the Arab Spring. Abdul Basit of Megrahi, I think was his name. Yep. So yeah. So all that shit was going on, and you know,
Oh,
07 was an interesting.
yeah, it was an interesting year because I remember it very vividly. I think I turned 19 that year in May, and I'll never forget it. But that year itself on YouTube, oh, it was something else. Nobody was on YouTube as
When did
much in that
YouTube
year.
start?
It
When
started
did
in
YouTube start?
05. 05 wasn't really much. 06 is where you saw black spaces were growing, but 07 was a boom. Like when people start making channels, I'll say from
I didn't
March
get
and
into
May.
YouTube until I didn't get involved in you. Did I get involved in YouTube by that time? I think I did log on to YouTube by then. 07,
Oh,
but I wasn't really serious into it. I just started checking it out for the first few times for a while. You know, it was just like,
I
what is
got
this?
into YouTube years ago when I had the older channel because I remember '07 like it was yesterday. Like that year, oh, it was something
Mm-hmm.
else. From May that year, that's when you start seeing new people coming around. And when I started in May, I found some old
It was
comedy
a rough year
shows
for me.
from
It
yeah.
was a tough year for me.
Yeah, it was a tough year for certain people, but for me, it was actually good because I was getting out of high school, but I'll never forget that year. Something else like that website at the beginning, it did kind of change a little bit because I liked the way the setups were. It was different. And then I said to
Mm.
myself that first month of that year in May, and I'll never forget, it was a whole nother story. But then I will say from the next month, oh yeah, I will start getting a few subscribers then because I wasn't doing content then. But then when I did the copyright content, that's how I started. I started out like that. And then I start transitioning to different content in 2010. So '07 from I'll say '09 was good. My first three stretch years. But the 2010 was something else. The politics back then was what it was. Nobody was really talking about it, but it was on the low in groups. That shit died, I would say about 2011 and 12 when it got rid of that feature. And that's when the video game thing kind of boomed in '09. Yeah, it was around '07, but they wasn't booming like that. It was really '09. That's when they boomed. And
Video
then,
games was just
yeah,
straightforward, like
on YouTube, when they start getting the monetization, that's when it really boomed. And I would say about 2010, that's when it was something. And 2012 was the biggest because the smartphone era, the height of it just exploded. That's when you see a lot of people start doxing people like crazy with the SWAT and all that shit. And I was like, all right, I already know it's gonna go downhill. After that,
oh man,
you don't see what YouTube is no more. That's why I don't take this stuff seriously anymore. Because after that, I already knew. Because this is my second channel. Because I can tell you, like, I've been through hell and water. Get this one to be the right content for me. But live streaming is a whole nother beast. I learned that last year. This year, I'm trying to bring that feel back once again, but it's a little different. What's going on, May? Salute. But
I remember um,
yeah,
you
that
had
was an
a
interesting time. Yeah,
you had a kind of, like at that time, like in the 2000s, you had a lot of social media platforms who were trying to set themselves up because you remember Black Planet?
yeah, I remember Black Planet very well.
Okay, I remember a couple of websites, especially for us, you know, especially if you were Eritrean Ethiopian, you might remember High Five in 03, 04, I remember getting on something called High Five, which was interesting. There was, but then I got introduced to Facebook in 05, 06. No, 06 is when I got into Facebook. MySpace like around the same time. YouTube. But then again, internet was slow as fuck in East Africa. Oh shit! Charles has got a shit. Started some shit. He's got a channel. He's got a stream going on. Check that later.
Yeah.
Thank you for the feed. Yeah. Oh, I just got a new tablet as well. New tablet, new phone. Trying to
Cool,
upgrade
man.
shit. It's Nokia stuff, but it's not a 5G one because I'm not ready for 5G. Then again, where the place I'm living in, they only have only 2 5G towers. That's the funny thing about technology, especially because the way it's fast. Technology is advancing, going out so soon that sometimes you don't have the infrastructure just set up just right for it just yet.
Yeah.
Same thing. Same shit like when a decade ago when they were introducing 4G.
Yeah. It's like that
So
over here.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it's a lot worse over there. Over here, we still got fiber optics, thankfully. Fiber optics with the internet. But
Yeah.
anyway, I just got a new tablet, new phone, and I'm loving it, but I'm just like still getting the hang of it, But it's like new technology. But what I wanted to get at regarding this about earlier when we were talking about technology, dude. I know your frustration with headphones and everything, but didn't you ever go to like electronic stores with your dad as a kid?
I did. Stores like
a
Best Buy, Radio Shack, Circuit City.
Oh,
Yeah, I remember
Radio
Circuit
Shack.
City. Yeah, I remember Radio Shack, and I remember Circuit City too. We used to have it in Tennessee, where I'm from, and that was an electronic store. It didn't make it. It didn't make it because Circuit City, it was similar to what you saw when Fry's and Radio Shack, but Circuit City didn't last long. It was a good one until it was gone. But Fry's was my personal favorite down here in Atlanta, and they said that was gone. This guy named Paul Jones from the Branches. I don't think it was gone. It's just it left later. He tried to say it was gone. No, it didn't really go. It moved somewhere else. It's just as a company, it just couldn't make it down here because it was a good electronics store. It was better than Best Buy. You had all the latest stuff and things like that. People just didn't want to get it in stock. I mean, it's around, but I don't think it's like popular in the US like it used to be. Because in those days, I went to those electronic stores, latest stuff, headphones, the CD players. Shoot, I mean, Best Buy is still around because they still got parts for it. So, yeah.
The point I'm trying to make is like I remember when I got this. I waited like when I got this and my phone, which I got last week. In a 2-week period, I got them both. I had to think long and hard. And the thing about Nokia is these things are budget based. They're affordable. And it's like Ralph Nader says about the whole importance about being a conscious consumer, if you're familiar with that concept. But one thing I learned as a kid when I used to go to stores with my dad, we didn't have just a little tell of myself. There was this one place I remember we used to go to when I was living in the Middle East. It was called Muktaba Jarir, or Jarir Bookstore. It's a bookstore chain, but the tagline is it was more than just a bookstore. So I'd go there and they would have like certain things like it was kind of like an IKEA of sorts. But I used to go to there, but there were like these electronic stores I used to go to. And I was with my dad and paying attention to what my dad was saying. Like a giant store or something like that. And he would ask questions about this, that, and the third, because he wanted to make sure, you get the right thing get the right. You want to get something that's affordable, but it functions right. You don't want to get, double crossed or get hustled by the sales clerk and whatnot. Because they're trying to sell you something, but you got to know what you want beforehand. That's why I make it a point, since I got here, just go online, do your research, look up what is the best setup you need for whatnot. That's why, like I said previously, like when you go to certain chains, certain electronic store chains, you got to have a good rapport with some of the sales folks there, because if you do, they'll give you the hookup on whatever information, whatever you need. You know what I'm saying? That's why
Yeah.
sometimes I'll go to certain electronic stores, even though I'm not going to buy. I go there and ask questions and say, "Hey, what's up?" And we're on good terms, whatnot. We meet them, and maybe they might have colleagues in another store in the same area, same thing. So I network that way and just know and ask them like 20 questions about this, that, and the third. Because if I want to get something, I want to know if that's the right thing for me, if it's the right fit for me, and plus I got to understand that this is just an investment. Same thing with the headphones. Something like there's a chain here up here called Hi-Fi up here in Scandinavia. Are you familiar with that?
High five. I've heard the term
Hi-Fi.
high five. Yeah.
No, Hi-Fi. Instead of like Wi-Fi, they replace the W with an H. Hi-Fi.
Oh yeah.
They do audio. Yeah, they do audio equipment and whatnot, whether it's for radio, sound system, or even if you're trying to podcast or whatnot. You go there. Like, say you're talking to the sales clerk and say, "Yes, and you got to have a frank and honest conversation with them. Say, I'm looking for this, that, and third. What do you got? What are my options? What about this? What about that?" Always know what's a better fit for you. I mean, whether you're a YouTuber, podcaster. What was the question from Degenerate?
He says Phi still around. I don't even know what that is. Generate.
But anyway, buy something. Yeah, that's true, Pastor. Buy something you need. I mean, that's why I learned to be a conscious consumer. I mean, I remember my mother, and then she picked this up from my dad as well, because, and this is an ASM, she bought a Sony stereo system. But this wasn't just any ordinary stereo system, because, where I'm from, cassettes is still king. Cassettes and CDs are still a king. Not that many people have records. I mean, like, old vinyls, they're not available like you think. But the CD player was a multiplayer one. This is in 2005 we're talking about here. So this stereo system, it was small, it was portable. I was able to link it to and me being a bit of a tinkerer with electronics, I was able to hook it up to the back of our TV. You know what I'm saying? And this CD player was multi functional. Played CDs, VCDs, audios, DVDs.
He says regional.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Wait, what region are you in, man? Degenerate, what region are you in?
He's from the DC area. DMV.
Oh, DMV. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that explains it. Oh, that explains how he knows so much about my ilk. But anyway, like I said, this stuff was like something, and plus I had 2 speakers, so she understood, like, if we're gonna have something, it's got to be something we can have and keep for us for long term. So same thing with the electronics and stuff, something that has a longevity can work, because a lot of these things, they're not built to last. Like getting headphones for like your cell phone, for example. I've had to replace how many? Like when I had a Sony Xperia, I had to get one of those Bluetooth ones. I had to replace the headsets every now and then, because the cables kept getting tangled up. And that fucks it up.
With the smaller headphones, I kept replacing mine, but I had the
The
same
earbud.
cell phone. Yeah, it was the cable, but it's usually the ear. It was the earbuds 95% of the time when the sound goes out. Yeah, it was some heydays. I had some heydays from Target.
Same problem with Nokia. I had to get a replacement because of that. So fortunately, they're starting to go into like the wireless ones, the wireless Bluetooth ones that are rechargeable. So no cables involved. So that's probably a good fit for a lot of people. That's why a lot of people are using those earbuds, those AirPods. But like I said, that being a conscious consumer is like. And I remember BBC, they had the show where they're talking about why people are like buying always the latest iPhone or the latest Samsung Galaxy and shit. I'm like, and I remember there was one cat. I went to I don't know if you guys have this over there in the States, but like telecom providers, when you go to a certain shopping mall, they always have their own stall.
Yeah, in the mall, I see that.
Yeah.
And Best Buy does it too. Quaz is kept. They don't have T-Mobile in there. Only time you see T-Mobile, they have their own store in the shopping malls, or I'll say in the mall. That's about it.
Okay. Okay. Here in Norway, we got like a couple of cell phone. We have a couple of electronic store chains. One's called Power. The other one's called L Shop or Shop or E Shop or E Shop or E Buy, electronic buy. They sell the phones, right?
Yeah.
But you have option plans when you purchase the phones. Either you can buy it as it is, which is going to cost you like at least 1,500 to 2,000 kroners. That's Norwegian or Swedish, whichever the currency. Or what they'll do is they'll sell to you with a cell phone and prescription or subscription. And some of those cell phone telecom providers, they don't actually have a physical store. Everything for them is online. So you buy the phone and you get a cell phone subscription that goes with it. And if you buy with a telecom subscription, that means you have a SIM lock on it, which means you can't replace a SIM card in there.
Yeah,
and
that's
you pay
like in most phones. Yeah, that's like that in most phones nowadays.
Yeah, that's why when I bought my phone, I bought it without the subscription, so I could do whatever I want. And plus, I could buy and plus, I buy all my SIM cards are prepaid, so I can go I go to like a convenience store. We have I can go to like a certain convenience stores because we have a 7-Eleven up here, as well as a local brand, a local chain. So you go there, get your SIM cards, prepaid SIM cards, and you work your phone, you work your magic. That's how you save money on shit. That's why you ever listen to Abba and Preach?
Yeah, I listen to them a lot.
Okay, there's one thing I remember Abba kept saying, because Abba is like from next door. When I mean next door, his country of origin is next door to my country of origin. The one thing he said, like, the good thing about having immigrant parents is we learn to avoid debt as much as possible. If you get into debt, pay off that debt as soon as possible.
I remember him saying that. Yeah. Yeah.
So fortunate for me, they do have there are available plans for purchasing things. So if you can pay it in cash, pay it in cash. If not, try to get one of those buy now, pay later kind of things. But not like installments. Get ones where you can pay it all in full, like within 30 days or some shit like that. Then you're good to go.
I saw they stuff recently. They was talking about something in politics or whatever, or this woman. They had to take a long break because there was the things with the pandemic stuff, and I said to myself, I was like, okay, and they had to get away, but they was in the lab, like what Apple was saying. He said something about that. That was like
sometimes
what was really going on with them. Yeah, and they have another channel too. Huh?
Yeah, they sometimes you need to take a step back. I mean, it's I remember Eric Clapton talked about sometimes. Well, you know who Eric Clapton is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He said sometimes, as much as I like to create, there are times where I gotta put down the guitar and take a step back, and take a breather, because you need to recharge your batteries. You need to do other things, because if you're too focused on one thing, sometimes it'll take its toll on you.
Oh yeah, I know that from experience, and you had to get away, get your mind cleared, and all that stuff. And then what Apple was saying,
you need that balance. Some people don't have that balance.
No, they don't.
And I remember Abba talking about how he misses the crowds, but unfortunately, with this pandemic, you got to understand, it is what it is,
and he stays isolated in his in his space. He said he knows it's not healthy, and I think him and Priest was talking about it. But they have like another channel, like a podcast I'm subscribed to. That's what they've been doing, and the content they still gonna make. They still gonna do some content. They just gonna gear towards the same stuff. It's just what it is with Preach. So they had to work in tandem, even though they live in Canada. But I did see him one time with the gun ranges in Texas. Yeah,
Oh, with
in that area.
Colin Noir and shit.
Yeah,
I remember.
with the guns, and they said, "Well, damn, America's serious about the guns." I said, "Yeah, that's us."
Oh, you don't fuck around with guns. I mean, would you believe me if I told you how long of an obsession East Africa's had with firearms?
Well, y'all had them a long time. Yeah.
No, we were the region was introduced to firearms by the Ottoman Turks and the Portuguese in the 16th century.
Yeah.
First war I can think of, where firearms were used in East Africa were the Abyssinian Adal War. That's the first Ethiopian-Somali conflict ever, between 1529 and 1543. The Sultanates of Dadal and their allies were supported by the Ottoman Turks. The Abyssinian Empire and their allies were supported by the Portuguese. And both sides got their firearms, learned about musketry from those respective groups. Later on, combat, as it was known, changed forever. Hell, if you look at what the Mid-Atlantic slave trade, when people would barter to sell certain slaves, sometimes they would exchange them for sabers or muskets.
Sabers and muskets. Interesting.
That was it. Do you remember the movie Amistad?
Amistad. I'm familiar with the name, but not much with the movie. But
in the movie, the people who Jemon Hansen, he plays the character Joseph Sinke, who's actual character from the actual uprising of Amistad. If you look at the history, the people who kidnapped him while he was being boarded onto that Spanish ship. In the background, you saw the people who captured him and sold him. One of them was just like trying out a musket they were given as a reward for their slavery.
Oh, wow.
As far back as the 17th century. Let's understand that one thing, when the first Europeans came to the shores of Africa, West Africa, some of the local inhabitants who aligned with themselves realized the importance of aligning with these people, because some of these people had certain advanced weapon technology. The same thing was going on with various tribes in the Americas. Those who chose to become friendly to white settlers saw potential allies and realized, let's align with these people, because some of these people might have weapons we need, and horses. Things to think about right there. This is what free thinking is about. You learn certain things every day. You learn, okay, this makes sense. Now I understand why. Now I see how things go.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's usually the way it is when you learn the cultures and things like that with guns. And yeah, that country, like when people say it in those tribes, yeah, they get guns like that a lot. I mean, it's been around, not as much. I mean, the crossbows, that's different, and we talked about that off air with the swords and stuff. Yeah, and then when the guns came, that changed everything. Oh, that changed everything.
Muskets were used in the British Civil War of the 15th century. The 17th century.
Yeah. In the 17th century too, but the 18th century, what changed it? They had those flintlock slings. Then they had the ones that are more advanced. Who's talking about certain guns, and I think Dre was showing us an M14. I said, yeah, they're very reliable. They still reliable. I think Soren was saying that, yeah, all those old guns we have, yeah, they're super reliable. They're not used in action, but civilian can rather use that instead of the high powerful guns like the M4. He said if you see someone on the back of that on his Kevlar and things like that, or walk around in certain places in America, yeah, you stay away from that. Of course you do. Because that dude is trying to, like, he could be military, police. They carry those things all the time. That ain't nothing new. Like, I see that a lot down here where I'm at. That ain't nothing. That's normal procedure when they in law enforcement. But see, Charles, he used to have something like that all the time. But then there was a stream. He had to stop somebody or whatever. Like what Dre was saying. Yeah, Charles is in Baltimore, man. Like you in those areas. A lot of
East
cemeteries that Dre
Baltimore.
showed me. Yeah, it's a lot of cemeteries. He says a lot
Dre's
of
on the other
bodies
side.
filled.
Dre's from West Baltimore.
Yeah,
So
he's from
that's
the
where
west of Baltimore. Yeah,
that's where
I already
Druid
know what.
that's where Druid Hill's at. If you know what Druid Hill is, you would understand there was a certain R&B group named after that area.
Oh, you talking about Drew Hill? Yeah, I already know about that. Yeah, I already know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that area, the Druid Hills and all that. Yeah, I've been by there. That ain't nowhere, man.
Yeah, I'm sure you can get the joke. I appreciate it. All those who got the joke of me, how I said yeah. Anyway, but it is what it is. And you see how I like to bounce off from one topic to another, but everything's interconnected like that. Now, folks see this method to the madness. This is the fun about being a free thinker. But unfortunately, you can't think like you want to sometimes. Or there are times where it's better to shut your mouth and just keep your thoughts to yourself, depending on who you're around. Like
Yeah,
this is why debates like this are kind of healthy. But unfortunately, there are certain places where you don't want to have these kind of conversations. I mean, before YouTube, the Google Hangouts, because Google, they shut down the Hangouts a long while back.
yeah, the live streaming version. I mean, you could still do it by email with the person you contact. The guy I'm in contact with, his name is John DeCosta. He's been around
Hey,
a long time.
hey,
Yeah.
I think sure people would like keep the anonymity. But are you familiar with
But
something called Pal?
no, the reason I'm saying his name, he's on YouTube, but that's his name. But I don't know if that's his real name because
Oh,
that could be a screen name. But but I'm just
oh,
saying, like as part of the Hangouts, he's probably one that's my contact because he's seen my
oh,
older stuff back in on this channel. Now I've been
oh,
cool with him since probably a long time, like 10 years ago. And that's a long time. So
the rapport
that's
you have
it.
with him.
But
Okay.
yeah. When I had the messenger thing, like the live streaming version, yeah, they shut that down because StreamYards and everybody else took over. So yeah, before I even got into YouTube, you didn't say much, especially in America at the time during the 9/11 period and the Katrina period. You didn't say much, but YouTube kind of changed that. The internet changed that. Everybody was still outside, but it was underground. Now,
This
when the
is like
smartphone era, that changed that. It's public now. People have different perceptions. You can't really say much to people how you want. I mean, you can, but the quiet's kept. You got to speak in code. Like always, I'm learning to do that now with
you also
this
worry about
era of technology.
trolling, online harassment,
Yeah,
doxing has become more prevalent. Because I can tell you from my own personal experiences, like I mean, I had a neighbor who lived directly above me, and her bedroom was directly above mine, and she'd sleep with the windows open in her apartment. She let the window out, and she'd just be sleeping while listening to like pal talk conversations, and I'd hear those conversations. And I realized, like even back then, some of these are like hangouts and such are nothing more than toxic cesspools, just like what Twitter has become in a sense. You gotta be careful, like you gotta be what you put out in the world. Sometimes it can attract wrong kind of people. That's why we're told to be careful of the company you keep and the people you interact with. You okay?
yeah, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, just watching, just like it's just that like this technology, smartphones, and everything. It's changed a lot of things, but you realize technology has advanced, but it's dumbed a lot of people down. Some people just don't understand like these things are like extensions of yourself, or you got to learn how to use them like a tool. This is
Yeah, I
why
use
like
mine as a tool. That's the
this is
problem.
like
If you didn't, yeah, if you
Japanese
didn't
philosophy
grow up,
talks about how you have to learn to respect the weapon before you use it, because you have to
yeah.
understand its nature. If you don't understand and respect the nature, it could come back to, if you misuse it, it's going to come back to bite you in the arm.
To me, it's morally misused. They understand it, but it's misused. A lot of
Yep.
people use it for the wrong reason. When you misuse it enough, say I grew up around some of it growing up, and see my dad had computers. That's the thing. It's a little different because a lot of black folks that came in late on that. Now the white folks, they've
Yep.
had it for years, and us learning it, yeah, it's been misused, and this is why we don't have two separate internets in the world to deal with that. And here's the problem: they'll give us this, but I bet you the billionaires will create something a lot faster. I just have a feeling in the future when we get older, it's going to be like that. Sorry, divided. You can't say what you want because a lot of it's a little political stuff. It has to be separate, because most people can't deal with those conversations. So in the barbershops in those days, back in the early years of YouTube, it's a little
Yeah.
different because you had to actually go outside and apply it, and you have to have books, like I said earlier, and back up your sources that way. But now everything's on a damn Kindle on a screen. It's a little difficult. It's a little difficult. And I think Wacky said this last Sunday. He said, yeah, the books and stuff that I was talking about, it's very, very, very telling. Very telling. So that's why a lot of
There's a
people are so
meme that
behind.
came up. There's a meme that I remember I came across on Facebook a few days ago. I talked about the concept of being a nerd, right? What it said was like, nerds, they don't grow old, they just become rare first editions. And that's the thing, we don't find any rare first editions of any book. Sometimes you find second edition, third edition, fourth editions, especially books on STEM and science and technology and whatnot, or history. One of my favorite things when I was in high school, when I went to the library, one of my favorite things to look into, one of the favorite books I look into was like the series of Britannica encyclopedias, or a history book if I could find any. And even when you read the books, you have to take everything with a grain of salt, because certain books were like, they were written in a specific time. Because like I said, you have to read everything in context. Like there are certain history books I remember reading when I was in college, and the sources they're going from come from way in the past, and the language they use, even in the late 90s or 2000s, would not have been considered appropriate, but it was the language of that time, the norms of that time. The terminology they used at that time may not make sense, or use of certain terms which are not PC, or should I say, or just nonsensical, or the use of certain slurs would throw like a lot of people off, but not me, because I grew to understand there was a different time, different place, and everything. But I can't repeat those words. But I just look at those things in. Excuse me. There, I'm back. But you just have to like look at these things in context. That's why certain people don't want to read certain books. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just like those books. I mean, it's not that they're problematic. It's just you're not trained to understand things in that context. I guess that's why empathy is not used. Is seen as a dirty word nowadays. Historical context. I remember, was it? You ever seen the movie Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
Do you remember the amount of racial slurs that were used in that movie?
All is a lot.
Yeah. Travolta would say in that time, imagine if John Travolta got canceled now because of this.
Yeah, it's been a while. I ain't seen him in television in a minute. The last movie I saw was that Paris and a few other joints he was in, but it's been a
Oh,
while.
from
Yeah,
Parents of Love.
yeah,
I love that movie, but it was just like the whole American bravado in that one, and John Reese Smith had to play had to play like somebody who was stationed overseas in France. But understanding, like, people can understand it. Wait a minute, they're just saying things like, I forgot how racist it was when I last saw that movie, but I grew up listening to the soundtrack. But the fact that he used all those racial slurs, especially towards Latinos and shit, I realized, oh wait, that's how they talked in the 70s in that part of Brooklyn. Remember, it was set in Bay Ridge section of Brooklyn. So, and once I saw that movie, I understood it. And when I looked at the plot line, when they told me where it was set, I remember going back, looking online, trying to understand what was that community like at that time. What was the demographic makeup, and understanding what was like at that time in the 70s. I was like, oh, okay, that makes perfect sense. Why they were talking like that? Why the animosities were like that? But my point is like I'm saying, is like, just certain books, even if we want to read them now, or just say,
yeah, yeah. Certain
what I'm,
books now, it's hard to find. Like you said, man.
or they're seen as problematic. It's like, what's that movie?
Yeah,
If you remember, ever checked out a YouTuber named Professor Black Truth?
I checked him out before. Yeah,
Okay, because he talked about, like, what was it? One book got canceled called Mouse. Uh, it's like it talks about anti-Semitism and whatnot, and they're saying like it could be triggering. And if you can imagine a book like 1984 or The Animal Factory, you know what? Animal Factory, Animal Farm, and 1984, two sides of the same coin. You cannot read one without the other. Imagine those books were could not be accessible because they were considered too triggering or problematic.
oh yeah, those type of books. Yeah, it's been like that a while.
Covert form of censorship. When you think about it, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, censorship's been running rampant since the smartphone era, and that's when a lot of people don't really say much. I try to tell you, old YouTube was better than this one because you can't really say much like you do now because that's why people don't really do topics on like they want to. Like that's the thing about the live streams. Like you gotta put certain words you want to get around it and things like that. Yeah, and I think Soul and Black said the same thing about the free speech. That's why Rumble is a good option because it's not as crazy as YouTube, but you say as much as you want and certain philosophies and things like that. But that's the problem with people because once you have one side going agreeing to another, it becomes a real issue. So it ain't no balance anywhere. So that's gonna be the issue in the future. Um, the younger generation is gonna look at it like, man, there's no option. That's why one internet does not do you no good. That's becomes a problem. It's
Yes,
just
the
over
problem is
time.
like, yeah, it's a
Yeah,
duopoly or monopoly we've had to deal with, and when it
yeah,
comes to the cyberspaces. But the dark web being what it is, cybersecurity being the ways, and how everything is being muddied up. Sometimes they'll just say in the name of cybersecurity they want to shut certain things down that don't need to be. But that's how certain regimes operate. But at the
yeah.
same
Certain
time, you
cultures
also
of
have
the regime, yeah, that's how they operate. And I don't get mad about it because a lot of it's culture how they built it. And that's why I
control.
was bring up those strings. Yeah, it's controlling people. You don't have that much freedom. Like they look at Americans freedom. Yeah, you have freedom physically.
Let's
It's
not
just
forget.
the
Let's not
the
forget.
words you say. Yeah.
Let's not forget, like something like how some people have just been frivolous online.
Yeah.
Like take Twitter for example. How some people just tweet frivolously. That's why although I do have an account on Twitter, I don't tweet. One of the people who inspired me not to be on it frivolously was Patrice O'Neill. So like, if I got something to say, maybe I'll go on to it and say it. If not, just don't bother. Usually when I get on, I just go on just to check a few things, get out. Same thing with other social media platforms. And like I said, I don't use Instagram because I see what that's all about. So I'm like, I'm staying away from that.
Yeah, Instagram.
Especially those if you have like those of us with mental health issues, realize that
Well,
no, that's
Instagram,
just
I can tell you like this. Before Facebook owning it, it was decent. The pornography was like during when Facebook bought it, it was rampant. But it's a lot of censorship on actually on both sexes for one, because at one time on the males they tried to do that shit. They kept flagging their stuff down. But the women, oh yeah, they showed everything. But the problem is with that is they're censoring them too. It's certain body types. So I see a little balance, but you know what it is. But that's a whole nother story. But Instagram's been washed since like the last couple of years, since 2018 when the Tumblr they tried to moving their little things. I already know that debacle. And then what you see now with the COPA laws on YouTube, that's why people don't really hardly ever do anything on those sites. So you're better off with TikTok, Twitter, few other joints that are good, or Rumble, like with Stolen Black Ghost. Like if you want to talk about these topics, that's extreme. You know, Patreon is all right, but Patreon ain't where it's at, bro. It's like you still can get tagged over there. You can get hit over there. I've seen many content's getting taken down. Yeah. That's why I don't invest in Patreon though. I don't invest in it.
Or like Patreon, PayPal, or Cash Apps or whatever. Everything has its purpose if you know how to use them.
Yeah, they have their purpose. I don't invest in Patreon. What I don't like about it is you can't really do that much content. Like nobody's not gonna watch you as much. If YouTube goes, there's other options. I mean, besides, you know, but if Rumble gets big, that'd be the next big thing. But what's saving YouTube is the news media and these channels that we watch on television. That's what's saving it in certain people. That's big, like Marquise Brownlees in the world and PewDiePie's. That's what's saving it. That community, certain communities.
Sorry with that about. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Talk about nonsense. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, who else? Oh, let's not forget the big whatchamacallit. What was it? The adpocalypse that took place like in 2017, was it? 2018?
Yeah.
That's all destroyed it. Because AdSense revenue and everything. Because I remember when a lot of people were getting major. I remember asking somebody. I had an ex, and she was like, "This is 2011." An ex was showing me like certain YouTube channels she was following. And go ahead if you want to call me a sellout. It is what it is. She was showing me some of these YouTube channels. I'm like, how do these guys get paid? This is before the ad revenue shit came out. And I realized like some of these people are actually getting endorsements. But you know, we're really shut down Patreon and whatnot for like a lot of these YouTube channels here. And on Twitch was the e-thottery that was running rampant for a short while before they went on to TikTok. If you remember that shit.
Oh, I remember. I remember how TikTok first came out. It wasn't really special, and there was a guy from Australia trying to promote it on YouTube. But it's just too invasive for me. I'm glad I ain't got an account for TikTok. It's a waste, to be honest with you. That's for the younger generation. I could tell which generation co-signs that. Quiet is kept, you know. Yes, made by Chinese. Yeah. Snapchat is still around. I mean, people still use it for certain purposes. I mean, yeah, it had the pornography thing, like that feature. It never was like that. OnlyFans was meant for that, their content, but what saved them in a lawsuit and things like that, they had to put that shit back. So it was they had to leave that alone, because I already knew that was a farce. When old boy was like, they trying to say it was that Tiger guy. Nah, he had nothing to do with that. That's cap. It's more than that. It was about the money they was spending and things like that. As long as you give them that type of attention. you
Cap?
know.
What do you mean by cap? I never understood. Why everybody say cap this, cap that? What's with these
Um,
young people?
yeah,
I'm getting old.
I'm just saying, it's a lie that they try to say Tiger has something to do with their money, which is not true. Like that dude had nothing to do with the problems what goes on
No, I mean
OnlyFans.
term cap. I mean the term cap.
It was a ownership thing. Like they didn't realize that was part of their revenue. That's what kept their content alive. See, if you try to make it more like YouTube, OnlyFans wouldn't survive. I'm sorry, it won't work because people known for what it's known for. See, they try to do what Tumblr did. That shit didn't work, and look what happened. It died. That's why nobody's not on that motherfucker, because pornography was the thing.
The
It
towel.
was like loose. It was free, and people had certain pages until that incident with the P files, so I like to call them, the lie that then told, trying to say that. But now there's certain body types they want to get rid of, and it was political. And then Apple was behind, kind of killed Tumblr. So you got to blame them for that. You got to blame them for instigating the YouTube law of COPA. This is where people don't know how to be responsible on the internet, and you got sorry parents that don't know how to parent their children.
Yep, exactly. You just hit
And
it right there. You
it's just
nailed it
what it's
right
just
on the
what it is.
you hit it
It's
right on
just
the
what
nail
it
right there.
was. It's just what it was. And I knew this when I was on YouTube and I didn't come back to these spaces.
Irresponsibility
And
on YouTube.
yeah,
Irresponsibility. Nobody knows how to be responsible on social media. And while we're
yeah,
at it, nobody ever takes the time to protect themselves while they're on the cyber or on cybersecurity. While nobody takes the time to check their security settings when they're on these social media sites. You first of all, you are the first and last line of defense when it comes to your own safety. And I remember checking out, like, there's this YouTube channel, I forgot the name, but they were explaining to me like the thing about VPNs and how they're useful and how people just use them frivolously or how they're not being used. It's like the comic comedian Ron, and they quoted the comedian Ron White where he said, "You can't fix stupid."
that's
So
true.
unless you learn how to be, that's why, like you said about people being irresponsible when they're on this shit. Like I said earlier, people like act frivolously online, especially anonymously. Now, anonymity has its place, and that goes into free speech. But apparently, if we're going to have this discussion, we're going to have to have this discussion about free speech when it comes to the concept of hate speech and where it crosses the line into hate crimes. But that's another discussion for another time. Dude, you all right?
Nah, it's just my sinus acting up. But yeah,
Yeah.
speaking of, we say hate crime, that ain't gonna stop. Like, especially here in America. But the only way you can stop that is you get rid of certain individuals. A lot of people call it silence. Nah, it's just YouTube pick and choose who they want to get rid of. And when you have a site like that, you gotta actually know what the definition of a hate speech is. Like, people false flag for attention.
Yeah.
And the reason you got that is that, but it's the ass backwards and some rules. Like, they don't really go in depth. That's the problem I have with Google and YouTube, period. It's always, ever since '08, what killed it was the money. If you didn't add the money feature, people would have
Oh,
productive lives, and they wouldn't be on this more often. What killed it was the monetization. And then they're ripping content creators off because they're not getting paid. And I told Dre, look at that feature. That's what's killing them. Because if you want to do it, you got to fake it till you make it. Then you got to be one of these people, be these top YouTubers, get those endorsements. What's hurting them long term is internally. It's going to happen sooner or later. You know, people are going to get tired of this site. That's why there needs to be a separation, because it has no competition. It's like big to fail on the internet, basically. And once you got the media, the mainstream media, you already
too big
gonna
to
kill
fail,
the
you
site.
said? Excuse me, too big to fail? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, for this site, because quiet is
Yeah.
kept. When you got Google and things like that, that's the problem. And media, from mainstream media from America, that's what's killing this site right now. That's why people say,
Uh-huh.
fuck this shit. I'm gonna go somewhere with different platforms. Like see, I listened to Solon Black. He had some good content recently. He talked about Rumble. If you're gonna be properly conservative, I mean, those sites accept that. There's no issue. I mean, here it's like you don't have different thought patterns. So it ain't what it was. See, old YouTube, everybody was in their own corner, but it wasn't like no big ass echo chamber. No, you dealt with the person, you challenged the points, you brought up information, and it worked. But now it's like when the live stream came, that changed everything. Oh, that changed everything. Cybersecurity, things like that. Like people act frivolously on live streams. I see it all the time. That's why I show people the screenshots. It is what it
Uh,
is, man. Like, yeah.
and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't catch on, this is how we come full circle and how everything's interconnected. I guess a lot of people. By the way, that avatar you got up in the top right corner, I like that. By the way,
Well,
did you
this
paint
one,
that yourself? No, 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 not your audio avatar. I mean the picture of Skeletor in the top right corner
oh, I
of
just
the screen.
found that. I found that I've used it once on a live stream on a panel. I
Mm-hmm.
still got it in my save drives. Someone did paint that, but it was I found it on Google somewhere, and he had the sword. That's an old classic picture how it was going to depict
That's
Skeletor at the
fan
time.
art. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like the fan art you see. Oh wait, you're a gamer, right?
yeah. I play video games. That's
What's
just
your
one of my
console?
other hobbies. Yeah, yeah. I do that. I
What's
be
your console?
in the
What's your
know.
console choice?
My console choice was Sony, but it's
Uh,
Xbox at this point. But you know, I gotta get another controller for my PS4. So yeah,
yeah, but then again, the good thing about the PlayStation, unlike Xbox, is we don't need batteries for our damn controllers. But
if you get good batteries, like the batteries, I'll tell you what I use. I use the Energizer lithium. That's the best ones. They'll last you
oh,
for like a couple of days or 2 weeks. Quite as kept. Energizer Max. That's like the second best, but I don't like those. But the lithium is the one you'll want. Or you get rechargeable batteries. That's the only thing by Exos.
yes,
But they got the Elite controller that's similar to a PlayStation controller. You charge it and you can last for like 48 hours. So the controllers on that, yeah, they got Sony beat on that. The only thing Sony's got on controllers, they don't last that very long because they do break. I've had so many lasting me for years until they start breaking down. The wear and tear on their controllers is cool for 4 years until after that it's through. You can always buy new controllers, but the consoles
or reset.
is debatable because I can say the PlayStation 2, PS3 console were better than 4 because 4 is burned out. It really is. It depends on what environment you're in. Now, if you're in a nice environment, it'll last a long time. So I like the Slim
Especially
though. I like the PS4 Slim. That's about it. So yeah.
PS4 Slim. Well, all my console, I got all my PlayStations are slim. So yeah, I got that. I got because it's like small, portable, easy to put away. But anyway, the reason I was talking about gaming consoles is because I have like if you're like whether you're on Xbox One or PS4, if you remember MKX, there
Yeah.
is if you go check out like in the offline history section, you can there's a collection of fan art like drawings and sketches by fans of the franchise that are unlockable in the crypt. And you know, you just look at those and like some of them are kind of cool. You know, some of those fan arts are just kind of cool. How fans like to draw certain characters. Some of them can be comedic. Some of them are like really professionally well done. Others are kind of rudimentary. But it's a reflection of the passion and the love for the franchise. Same here with this fan art you have of Skeletor.
Yeah,
So
that's a older fan art I found, and that's been a while. Well, I started posting that recently, and I've had it as an avatar on the on the channel before. Well, I'll say yeah, I've had it a few times on certain streams. I've been on panels with that when I switched, and it was cool. And I said, you know what, let me put that on the top corner instead because I had so many pics. And I got the 90s version with this based off the topic. So I roll with that. I switch around. And I don't know what I'm gonna do with the new Thursday one in the spring, because that's only for the spring. And then I'll ditch it in the summer and bring back certain things. So with the thrills again, because that's a longer series. How I'm gonna
It
look
is.
at it, but yeah,
I love this art. I mean, just like you just love the artistry about this because I remember seeing as somebody who's been a lifelong fan of pro wrestling. You get to see fan art like this all the time, and you're just like, oh wow. You just get to see. You just got to learn to appreciate the craft and the love that people put in. Because a lot of these things are like a labor of love. We see how these people
yeah,
are able to like do this fan art because they're just doing something. They're doing sketches and drawings of things that they're genuinely interested in. And that goes for gaming franchises. I've seen like fan art of uh, of Street Fighter characters before. This is back in the late '90s, and that was just something to look at. That was like really, oh wow. Or those who are fans of the Resident Evil franchise, for example.
yeah. I'm familiar with that franchise.
So you see all that art, you see the fan art, and you're like, oh wow, these guys are just really genuinely dedicated and really interested in this stuff. And this is something, and they're able to like they're combining things like art and and their love of certain things. You'll see this like with sketches of sports of pro athletes and whatnot. When I was a kid, I had like the one of my things was like trying to learn how to create designs for team uniforms and team logos. That's why when you have like games like not I wouldn't say Madden necessarily, but well not well actually if you go like to like the PS2, Xbox, original Xbox days,
Yeah,
EA with some of the games they had, or like EA with some of the games they had, or like 2K, there was some level of creativity. You could create like team franchises that way, and mess with the
yeah. I remember the
logos.
early 2K games. I remember 2K5, the ESPN version that was with Sega, and all the way from number 7.
Mellow and
Yeah, yeah. 2K7. I remember. I
yeah,
remember
you
those
get
games. I still got them on PlayStation 2. I customized a team and used them for regular season. Took them to the finals a couple of years back, and then there was one team I customized. It was called themselves the Talons. I forget the name of the city, and I had certain players that I had, and they had a draft.
Wait a
Oh, it
minute,
was
was this
something else.
basketball we're talking about? Or you talking about basketball or football?
Basketball 2K5, because I remember they had like a team called the Talons. They had certain logos, the jerseys, and things like that, and I was into that. They had
My brother
several
and I,
teams I'm like.
we at my house, at my parents' house, because I live alone now. But at my parents' house, when we had a PS2, it was NBA, ESPN NBA, or 2K4, 2K04 as it's called, because that's when you had Allen Iverson on the cover. If you remember that one,
Yeah,
the same team, but there was one of the Panthers. The colors were black and purple. They also had like the Dynamos, which was the locomotive. The Talons, I remember, Raptors. I know exactly what you're talking about. And it was kind of cool back then because you were able to like customize also customize some of the players.
yeah.
And so my brother and I, we would just like customize ourselves and our friends.
Oh yeah,
And
those games are epic.
based on where we grew up, we were like changing, like we just like modify our characters, how they looked and everything. This is back when cornrows was a shit, if you remember.
Yeah, I remember
Yep.
cornrows,
Oh,
certain fades,
yeah,
certain
yeah,
cuts.
just like
A lot of the in that era, the 90s cuts was prevalent until in the 90s, early 2000s.
in the
It actually
'90s,
stopped.
it was
It it,
afro.
it actually it actually it
Everybody was
actually
getting
stopped in '07 because I remember like it was yesterday because when I had a certain hairstyle that I had in the 90s, that shit lasted me from I was like 19 and it kind of faded out in '08 because that's when the 90s cuts kind of died out. When '08, I'll say till now, you don't see them no more. You still do the dreads and the dreadlocks and these botched up taper fades that you got now, but the ones with the high cut fades, that you have to go back in '07 in the '90s. That shit was something else. The '80s they had them a little bit, but the '90s was the biggest. That was the thing back then. So
High top fade for me kind of ended in 2000.
yeah, it ended
Because
up 2000 certain places. But if
because
you
in
had it, if you had it,
I started growing my fro out and I started braiding my hair.
I would say like the fade in general, it like the high top fade didn't really end out until like I would say like '07. Like for me, because I've seen
Yeah, back
people
then
had
everybody
it.
was rocking dark Caesars.
Yeah,
Everybody was getting
the
short
the
faded dark
early
Caesars.
the early 2000s cornrows was big, but it wasn't big yet in the 2000s. I mean, that was the Iverson era. Before that, you
It was
saw it in the late '90s. You had the hip hop things like that. You didn't see that progression until like '03 and '07. That's the best years of the cornrows. And then the dreads, the box short dreads was popular then too. The longer dreads came later, because that's what was the thing in 2012. Now,
I can
those
think
years.
of one player. If you remember the NBA at that time in the 2000s, there was only one player I can think of who was consistently rocking dreadlocks. Brian Grant,
Yeah, Brian Grant.
nicknamed Rasta Monster. He even has a on one shoulder. He's got a tattoo of Bob Marley, and underneath it is the word prophet.
Yeah, I remember him having dreads. It was him. The ones that had
Who's the
actually cornrows, a lot of people try to say it was Iverson. It was actually Spreewell and Iverson. Both of them had them because quiet as it
Sprewell,
kept.
Iverson, Rip
Yeah,
Hamilton from you remember
Rip Hamilton.
Richard
That was
Rip
later.
Hamilton?
He didn't always have them, but he had them in the 2000s. I remember because in the beginning when he came to league, he had a fro, and then he
Yeah.
started.
Rasheed Wallace tried it. Sean Marion also had cornrows for a while.
Yeah, he had
In
cornrows.
football, I remember who was it? I think Ray Lewis
But you
tried
you
it.
forget about
Hands
Amari Stoudemire. He had one too. He had them
Yeah,
too.
Amari
Yeah, he
tried.
had
So
one
they
too.
tried him out, but they were like, "Nah, we can't do it." But the only guys who were consistent with cornrows was Iverson and Sprewell.
Yeah,
And
no, he still got cornrows. He does the fro, but he still got it. No, he still got it. He just don't do it as much. I mean, no, they have them. It's just him and several others. And then when people start doing the dreads now, that would be your Jay Crawford. I mean, yeah, Crawford, I believe. Yeah, he's from Villa Rica, Georgia. There's a few other guys that got it. That ain't
who
going
was that
nowhere. The
guy?
dreads.
I remember the cat who had dreads. He was like a point guard for the Timberwolves in the early
Oh, I know he's
2000s.
talking about. Yeah.
He was like he had like shoulder length dreads, and coming up in Eritrea, I remember I knew some cats who I knew back in college, high school. Cool cats. I remember they had dreadlocks for a while, and man, when they grew them locks, they were beautiful. But, they had to cut them eventually because I remember how long they grew theirs. They grew theirs like really long down their shoulders and whatnot, but they started cutting their hair, and some of them looked better. I had a cousin who had locks. I myself, I had the braids, but I had box braids at one time. But it was what it was for our era. We were just young men trying to figure out who we were.
Right.
But where I come from, the dreadlocks has a significant meaning because it goes back to our parents' generation during our independence war. A typical Eritrean rebel was seen either with a woolly afro, they either had woolly afros that were unkempt, or they had dreadlocks, and that was the norm at that time. This is going back to as far back as the 70s. So we don't knock the dreads like that. We respect them. The dreads have a reason. It's not like Rastafari with dreadlocks. It doesn't have that same meaning for us. It's something else. But it is what it is. But you have to go back. But if you remember in the 90s, in the 70s, it was the fro, right? In the 80s, you
70s.
couldn't.
Yeah,
In the
70s was the
80s,
fro.
but in the 80s, if you look at basketball players, football players, not a lot of people couldn't really rock the Jerry curl. But in the 90s, You had the high top fades, but you also had a lot of cats who were rocking the baldy, especially in the NBA. A lot of dudes, especially like in the mid to late 90s, the baldy was becoming the norm.
Well, the
You know what I'm
bald
saying?
heads, yeah, you
Yeah, the
always
bald.
had them in every era, but yeah, it's come to norm because that's the common style now. And the taper fade and the
Yeah, especially if you had receding
mohawks.
hairline, losing it, you're like,
Yeah,
you know what? I'm just gonna just shave it all off and see how it looks. And some dudes that look amazing with a shaved head, especially with a bald head, especially if you like combine it with like a goatee at the time.
yeah,
Like in the 90s, remember like the circle beards and the goatee and mustache,
yeah,
or when the sideburns were coming out. It's kind of weird how we're having these conversations, but this is a multifaceted kind of thing, like at Charles's Hangouts.
yeah,
But you understand that this was a reflection of who we are and what we are. But a lot of those intellect, a lot of people who had those appearances, they were highly intelligent people though. If you remember the show Living Single.
yeah. I remember the show Living Single, but you know,
Okay,
like,
let me hold on, just bear with me for a minute. If you
all right,
remember the character T.C. Carson, the actor T.C. Carson,
mm-hmm,
he played an attorney in that show, and he talked about how there was an episode in that show of how the fact that he had dreadlocks was considered like a hindrance of him advancing career-wise as an attorney, or it appeared as such. But it was addressed, accordingly, and he had to like. I'm sorry, but there was a lot about that at that one particular episode that talked about like how you can't always judge a book by a cover, by that appearance-wise and whatnot. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's true.
And like, what was it like in that episode? I forgot it was. It was like he had a coworker who was like kind of like what they call it. He was like black boule or like kind of bougie, uppity,
Yeah,
and he was like, and he had to address him about his appearance and whatnot. No, he had to address him about how this person took shots at his appearance and whatnot. I said, just because I have dreadlock doesn't mean I'm incompetent. And his dreadlocks weren't that long. They were like ear length. They were like mid length or whatnot. But at that
yeah,
time, it was just like appearance wise and everything. Also, tattoos and piercings. Let's not forget.
mm-hmm.
They to become popular.
Oh, I see sleeves now. All these designs and stuff. I mean, tattoos been around forever, but same with the ball heads and things like that. Like I said, I see tapers and things like that and fades and all that stuff. I mean, they still rock the beards now, the ball head. But if you have a beard, that's a different story.
Full length, no, not, I don't mean like a full length beard, because if you remember in the early 2000s, the chin strap beard became really popular.
Oh, it still is. I mean, it still is today. The problem is now the full beards are in, like the James Harden
Yeah.
type. Yeah. Well, actually, the Phillies, they keep theirs groomed in Philly because I already know they did the chrome rolls, they did all that. But when they do their beards, that's their trademark. And then Baltimore figured it out what they was using. I think Dre said this on a stream, and I think he said this off air to us, and he said, "Yeah, they figured it out." Of course, I mean they had the culture, so
What is that called? Like in the 70s, like that full beard was the norm because it was like a symbol of masculinity. It's just a trend. It's like black certain cat Black Ram 103, because this is therapeutic, man. Sorry, I had to put that in, but it
yeah.
was just a
I haven't
trend.
watched his stuff. Like he streamed, like was
He's
it
still strange.
Sunday? Yeah, it's Sunday. Yeah, I was in his stream and they was talking about something else, but you know he's still around. He's
Yeah, we
still
gotta
around.
respect it, you know. But like I said, it's like the whole thing about the trend of the beards. I myself, I can't grow a beard, so I just shave everything off. All I keep is like what they call what the Brits call a tuft, or like a soul patch. That's all I got. and I'm not a fan of mustaches. Like I said, just trends are trends, and you realize, oh wow, this is the era we came from. Also, like excessive tattooing. Like, I can't deal with excessive tattooing. Like, sleeves are cool, but it is what it is. The artistry is the artistry. And a lot of things become the norm. And this is where it comes back to being an independent thinker. You also have to be an independent mindset, because if you're going to be involved in things like that, it has to be genuine. It can't be like something like following the trends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people love trends. I'm not a trendy person like that. I call things out what it is. Like I done seen enough changes in the world, so it's gonna continue. The older you get, you see it for what it is. It's how you adapt to it. That's my thing on that. So yeah. Oh dang, it's almost 4 hours. What's going on? What's going on, man? What's going on? He said, "What's
There's
wrong with
nothing
that
wrong with
too?"
that. Come on up, Tony. Come on up.
He on. Yeah, that's true, Captain. That's true. Okay.
Nothing wrong with tattoos. Nothing wrong with them. That's just how they're used. Like some people have like, you understand, there's some people who are genuinely into tattoos, and there's those who are faking the funk.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know if you ever listened to Patrice O'Neill. I remember, was it one particular episode? And at the end of this episode, there was somebody coined a term that is like hit close to, that's really that's been close to, that I've held hang on a second. Had to wet my whistle. There was a term that I had to hear that I've kept with me, and it's called socially acceptable rebellion. If you know what that means.
Yeah. Know what you mean by that?
That's a concept that some people forget. It's like some people are just doing things that are socially acceptable, but it's not genuine. Like whether it's in other words, they're just following the trends, or they're just faking the funk and claiming certain things. So you got to weed that out. Same thing with independent thinkers.
Yeah, same concept. Yeah.
So they just follow the trends and not really into that thought. They don't take, excuse me, that they don't take the things seriously. That's why you have people just who have a copy paste type of mindset.
Oh, they still do.
Copy paste, or as I like to say, Control X. No, it's like Control C, Control P. Any of you guys who remember how to use Windows Word, they know exactly what I mean by those commands. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm about to.
You gotta close this. Yeah, we gotta close this, huh? It's been 4 hours.
Yeah. I'm about to shut this down.
Two in the goddamn morning at your end.
No, it's still nighttime, but it's about to be midnight soon. So yeah, I gotta shut this down. Right. Yeah. Eastern time. So
it's almost 6 a.m. over here. It's almost 6 a.m. over here, so I gotta get up. Do a little spring cleaning before the spring. It's still fucking winter over here. Fortunate for me, up here everybody's on holiday. It's winter break. That's a school holiday, so a lot of kids gonna be running around acting the fool. I wish they bring they bring back the restrictions, but hey, it is what it is. So anyway, Sir O, thanks for having me.
Not a problem.
And if you guys, I know the GOAT. I know the clown is not exactly a villain, but
If sometimes you need an outsider, let me know. All hell Grayskull. My bro just sends his best to y'all too. Oh, and if Spotty Boy shows around, shows his face, do send him that pic I have of him and of me and Wanda, photoshopped, of course. Bye.
But yeah, like folks, like it's been a decent stream, but but I had to say what I said earlier, like from last night with the AM things, and I'm about to shut this down because it's gonna be like 4 hours. I just want to talk to y'all for a minute, but appreciate everybody come through. Captain, you can also feel free to hit the link if you want to talk because we can talk off air. If not, that's cool. Um, appreciate you coming though. Toya the Ultimate Tutor, shouts out to Wolf and everybody. The Ultimate Tutor, Psycho, Degenerate, Pastor. Who else came through? Gino, of course. Appreciate you, man. Always Mike, Absalon, the advisor himself. All hail, Gray Skull. And Information Man, Shar. This person, I don't know who this person is. Man Pipe Channel. I don't know about all that. I don't know about you, man. Legendary Wacky World of O. Appreciate you coming through, man. And yeah, man, yeah. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. So with that, I won't hide that. I was like, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow talking about communitarianism. That's a whole nother stream. So, I think Cerulean will be busy. But just in case, I'll drop the link if he wants to come through on a different server or whatever. So with that, yeah, just check him out over at Teapots. But I'll be there. But to me, I'm always open. Thursday Thrills, of course, we're gonna do our thing. So that's our thing this week. So I'm just gonna focus on the weekend and things like that. So I got streams to knock out. Thursday, I'm gonna talk about something totally different. I'm gonna get my screenshots ready for probably next week because if I was gonna have something planned, yeah, we'll have a segment. Yeah. So with that, I just want to say peace and shalom. Oh hell, Gray Skull, and I'm out.